far as any postseason awards, but I'll tell you what, if he finds Bobby Ingram like he did at the end of last year, well, they're going to be talking about Kerry Collins.
Hey, he's on a 5-game win streak, but if you remember back to last year, he wasn't the starter for this opening game between these two teams last year, but he proved himself to be worthy of the starting position tonight. Take it away, Paul.
Garrison Harmon is getting set to get us underway, and we are. A high end-over-end kick that Mike Archie says is all mine. He'll take it at the 9, the 15, the 20. He'll get out to about the 28-yard line where Penn State will put it in play. 1st and 10 from there. Kerry Collins getting set to bring out the offense.
Watch out for that Penn State offensive line to find out whether or not they actually can live up to the billing as one of the best in recent Penn State history. Kerry Collins, we've already told you about him. He certainly will prove himself tonight. He's proven himself in the last 5 games, as we said. But this offensive line a year ago, while some of the guys aren't there, allowed the fewest sacks of any team in the Big Ten last year. So let's see if Collins gets some time against this Minnesota defense.
There we have it right away. What we thought we might have. Split backs are Archie and Carter, a pair of tailbacks behind Kerry Collins, and Archie will go in motion. Kerry straight back to throw, sets up the screen and knew he didn't have it. Boy, was that read perfectly by big number 90.
Eddie Hawthorne, the senior, 6'2", 290 pounds. We expected him to see a lot of double teaming from the Penn State offensive line. As you take a look at the Nittany Lions offensive line, Andre Johnson, they call him a short tackle, which is kind of ironic. He's 6'5", 285. Marco Rivera, a returning starter. Bucky Greeley at center, a returning starter as well. Jeff Harding's all Big Ten a year ago.
2nd down and 10, Penn State from its own 23-yard line. As we see the split backfield with a pair of tailbacks, and now we're back into the eye with John Whitman in there at fullback. This is Freddie Scott in motion. 2nd down and 10. The draw is given to Carter. Cuts it back through the middle. Gets about 5, but he is stopped there by number 16. That's the middle linebacker, Craig Sauer, who actually started here as a quarterback, Jim. He
was the Minnesota Player of the Year when he was a quarterback here as a high school player, but he's now, as you see, the defensive line for Minnesota, Ogon Akbar, a late replacement. Peter Heastand wasn't a starter last year, neither was Todd Wolkow, but Craig Sauer is a returning starter. Jawan Hunter, Kenzimas, Taylor, and Heath. Watch out for Heath. He is just a sophomore, did not start at all last year. If Penn State's going to go in the air, Kerry Collins ought to be looking for number 24 to attack Rodney Heath.
Big play here for the Nittany Lions. 3rd down and 5 from their own 28-yard line, and we have the referee signaling that Penn State wanted to talk things over.
Well, I'll tell you what, Paul, there's a flag over on the far sideline. I don't know what the flag might be a result of. They're going over to talk to Joe Paterno right now, as well as Kerry Collins, but you wonder if maybe some things were being said over in the Penn State sideline that may have prompted the penalty flag. We're going to see what the call is here in just a second.
Might have been pushing that play clock. So why don't we sort things out and take a break? There's no score, and you're watching Penn State football on TV 10. I was just glad I recognized the split backs right away with Archie and Carter.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they decided to do that. I mean, if they're going to run the football, you think they'd what Whitman in there, but
yeah, when Joe starts getting gadgety, it makes me nervous.
Yeah,
I don't like it. Yeah, 3rd down and 5.
Where are you seeing it at? Where are you looking?
Straight
up there?
across.
All right.
Straight across from us.
I don't see them marking off a penalty here, so.
No, I think that was just a stop play. The official came right in and, you know, timeout, so that means no penalty.
Now, there was a flag down.
Right. It was on the far sideline.
Right.
But the officials weren't dealing with the flag.
Yeah. So you want to say they wave off the flag?
I'd say no flag.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back, Dave, as soon as you can get it to us. Third down and 5. Kerry Collins back to throw. Has a man. It's Kyle Brady. It's going to be very close to the 1st down. We'll have to take a look and see. Good tackle. Good one-on-one tackle made there by the Golden Gophers defense. We're going to have our first measurement of 1994.
The pass was certainly on the mark by Collins, but as you take a look at the replay, doesn't look like Cal took it in, started running a little bit, juggled it basically, and just wanted to fall to make sure that he had the catch in his arms. And if he holds on to it, he's able to pick up the first down easily. But as we check out the measurement, it's a first down. Penn State, its first of the year.
Yeah, Kyle stumbled a little bit, was 'able to fall forward, and when you're 6'6", 260, falling forward should be pretty easy. That was Crawford Jordan there making the stop.
If Coach Paterno, excuse me, Paul, if Coach Paterno had any criticism at all about Cal Brady, it might be just a lapse in his attention to detail when it comes to catching the football.
Now Penn State out of the more traditional eye that we've come to expect. John Whitman's the fullback, and Ki-Jana Carter's the second back through, and he's going nowhere. He is met by the interior of that Minnesota defense, and this was our first question of the day. Was Penn State going to be able to run the football right down the throats of the Minnesota defense? And so far, no. Yeah,
well, when we talked about getting ready for this game, we thought that might be the strength for Penn State, going up against the defensive line for Minnesota, that while it does feature an all Big Ten candidate in Ed Hawthorne, that there might be some weaknesses along that defensive line. So far, we haven't seen any.
No gain for Carter on the play. That brings up 2nd down and 10 for the Nittany Lions. This is Carter again, has a block and has a hole. He's across the 40, the 45, and across midfield, and into Golden Gopher territory at the 48-yard line. He is dragged down from behind by a Minnesota Golden Gopher defensive back, and when the secondary starts making tackles, you're doing a good job offensively.
But at the point of attack, watch Hardings and Whitman. Hardings. Kick him out of there. Get him out of there. Whitman just takes out a linebacker. Ki-Jana Carter. He ought to buy a dinner for everybody along the offensive line. He ought to buy it for Whitman too, because if Carter can find holes like that, he's on his way to a 100-yard night.
Absolutely. These two are dangerous with the football in their hands, and Bobby Ingram is going to get attention whether he gets the football or not. 1st and 10, Nittany Lions, first penetration into Golden Gopher territory. And Collins throws out in the flat to Freddie Scott. It's complete, picks up about 5 or 6 on the play. Kenny Jackson upset about something on the Penn State sideline, but that is Craig Sauer making the stop. We'll call it a gain of about 5 and 2nd down and 5.
Little timing pattern here. The ball's already on its way. Once Freddie Scott takes a couple of steps down, he turns. The ball's got to be there. He's got to look for it. Tries to pick up extra yardage and does with a little spin. Sets up Penn State with a 2nd and about 5, Paul.
Chris Campbell into the ball game for the Nittany Lions. He is split wide to the right. Ingram is split wide to the left. 2nd down and 6 for the Nittany Lions. The give is to the fullback. Whitman straight up the gut. He'll get 3. That'll bring up 3rd down and 4.
I don't know if we're going to see John Whitman carry the football much more this year than he did last year, but you know, when he gets an opportunity, he makes the best of it. Shows about 9 yards on an average carry. Here's the overhead.
We don't get this one at Beaver Stadium.
Well, I'll tell you, in this kind of play, it's Ki-Jana Carter basically as a decoy. The defense is watching him in motion. You hand it off to Whitman up the middle. He gets a couple. We've got a 3rd down situation.
3rd down and 4. Penn State Nittany Lions in Golden Gopher territory. This is Freddie Scott coming all the way across the field. Kerry Collins straight back to throw. Has a man, and it's Ingram. His forward progress will give him the 1st down. And Penn State is on a roll.
Another timing pattern where you see Ingram just take a couple of steps down. The defensive secondary for Minnesota is giving Penn State receivers all sorts of room to work. And if Penn State can take advantage of that, they're going to move the ball downfield. A good spot by the referee. Obviously, he had the 1st down made. The hit made beyond the 1st down marker. That's the what is it, 3rd now for Penn State here in this drive.
Absolutely. And with Bobby Ingram, you have to play him a little soft. You can't come up and get in his face, even though it's 3rd and relatively short. You don't want him to beat you for the big one. 1st down and 10, Penn State. Collins, the screen to Scott. Has Ingram out in front of him. A flag could have a face mask as Freddie Scott gets down to about the 32 or 3-yard line. There are flags everywhere. We'll sort this one out for you.
Yeah, Juwan Hunter, number 2 there defensively. Freddie just put a little bit of a move on, a little stutter step, and the only thing that Hunter could do was grab whatever he could get his hands on. It happened to be the face mask. That's going to give Penn State some more yardage on this play. Check it out. Oh, the juke.
Shake and bake with Freddie.
See ya. Now, he didn't get a good hold on the face mask, but that's all it takes. Jim Wacker's saying, man, we got to put our helmet in the chest of these guys. We can't be grabbing their face masks.
It's kind of lonely out there in the flat, man for man, with either Freddie Scott or or Bobby Ingram. We have the face mask call.
Our referee tonight, Dick Honig. Don Thayer is the umpire. The linesman is Mike Spanier. Don Langlow is the line judge. The field judge, Bob Colburn. Denny Freund, the side judge, and the back judge is Tom Herbert.
First down and 10. Penn State Nittany Lions. And Mike Archie now in the ball game. He's in the slot, and this is Scott in motion. Collins straight back, short drop. He and Ingram cross signals on that one. Pass incomplete. 2nd down and 10.
On that play, Paul Hunter actually had the assignment of guarding Ingram, and he did a very good job. It forced Kerry Collins into throwing the ball when Bobby Ingram knew that he wasn't going to catch the ball, because Hunter did such a good job that he decided to head on downfield. And like you said, they crossed up signals a little bit.
You know, people realize that a quarterback has to read defenses, but so do receivers. Receivers also have a lot of hot reads and have to know what's going on defensively before they can get into the proper pattern and proper sequence with the quarterback. This is Whitman straight up the middle, breaks a couple of tackles, gets inside the 25, probably to the 24. And that is good enough for a Penn State first down.
Check out that tattoo on Whitman.
He is a tough guy. He said he likes to bleed. Is one of the things he told me in the preseason. He said he likes to block until he bleeds. That's the kind of guy I want blocking for me.
All right, Penn State picking up the first down. Keith Conlon with a key block there at the point of attack, freeing Whitman, who basically did most of it from there on his own.
Remember last year, Minnesota fell behind early, and Jim Wacker said he did not want that to happen again. This is Carter. Around the right side, cuts it back, across the 20. Inside the 20 to the 17, where Justin Consumias is credited with the tackle. Pickup of about 7. 2nd down and 3. Oh, I love this replay, Jimmy. Have fun with
All
this.
right, Ki-Jana Carter. He sees an opening to the outside, but Jeff Hartness can't take care of it, so he's just going to use his blockers, move back inside, pick up whatever he can, and it's actually good yardage. Pick-up of about 7 yards. Carter's so good at using his blockers, looking what's in front of him, taking advantage of any opening that he sees. Now Penn State looking at a 2nd and 3.
2nd and 3 call is to Whitman, who has now probably carried the ball more than half as he did the entire year last year, but he did average 9 yards per carry last year, and he picks up yet another Penn State first down, and this drive looks to be very methodical and very precise, just exactly how you'd like to start the season offensively.
Well, you know, obviously Minnesota knew that Penn State was going to come out and run the ball, so Penn State just kind of crosses them up there in that first series, that first couple of downs, throwing the ball just to loosen them up a little bit, and it seemed to have worked, because now Penn State, the offensive line, is just blowing Minnesota's defensive line off the ball, and they're picking up big chunks of yardage. Now first and 10 at the 14.
Play fake. Ingram is held, and that is an interference. Absolutely.
He was holding on to him from behind. He knew that he had lost him to the inside, and all he could do was take a grab of the jersey. We're going to see an instant replay, I'm sure of it, and we're going to point it out. It was just so blatant, anybody could have seen it.
But see, that's where the run sets up the pass. You play fake the ball to Ki-Jana Carter, and then you get man-for-man coverage on Bobby Ingram. Well, guess what? You're just in big trouble. Ingram had 6 all over that. Juwan Hunter, excuse me, had 1 option, and that was simply to make sure that Ingram didn't catch the ball.
And you know, Ingram smells the end zone when we get down this close. He had 13 touchdowns a year ago. Pass interference is the call against Minnesota. That'll move it down inside the 3, just about to the 2-yard line. Penn State looking to score its first touchdown of the year. They'll bring in Olsemer as another tight end.
And Brian Milne, boy, is he a great story. Fort LaBeouf High School near Erie, Pennsylvania, had a bout with cancer that he fought, and he is back, and he weighs 255 pounds, ladies and gentlemen. And when he comes at you, you're going to know it. 2 fullbacks, and Ki-Jana Carter's the tailback on 1st and goal for the Lions. Give to Carter in the sweep left. He has a touchdown if he wants it, and he walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Nittany Lions, gives the ball right to the official. And every time he gets in there, you're supposed to expect like you're always there. It's not a new experience, and Penn State goes out in front 6-0.
Minnesota defensively just outmanned on that left side of the line of scrimmage. They didn't make any adjustments when Milne went in motion to the left side. You had Kyle Brady, probably the best blocker on the team, if not in the Big Ten. It's one of his strengths. And when you load up that kind of size on the left-hand side, Ki-Jana Carter basically going in untouched for the first Penn State touchdown of the year. First of many.
That was just plain easy. Penn State just manhandling the line of scrimmage. And it's pretty simple. If you control the line of scrimmage, you'll win 99% of the games you play. Brett Conway to attempt the point after, and it is good as well. The Penn State Nittany Lions draw first blood against the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. It is Penn State 7, Minnesota nothing. You're watching Penn State football on TV 10. Okay, you know, I just assumed that we were to get to breaks as quickly as possible, and after a touchdown, that's kind of automatic, is it not?
Dave.
Dave? Were we not going to go to a break there regardless?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, Tim.
Started at the 24, yeah, 23.
How many plays?
15. Okay. Sorry about the break, Dave. I just assumed after a touchdown we'd take one. All right.
Well, you know, I love it when they make us look smart, Paul. We said one of the Penn State keys was controlling the football. How about a 4-minute and 52-second drive, 77 yards, 15 plays. You saw a little bit of everything. We even saw John Whitman carry the football a couple of times before you see the touchdown from Ki-Jana Carter. They're making us look pretty smart right now.
I think Joe might say that drive was a little too quick. Slow it down out there, fellas. Eat more clock. No, I think Joe's a pretty happy camper right now. Brett Conway is set to kick it away back deep for the Golden Gophers. A couple of speedy guys, Rashawn Early and Conway gets his foot into it. That'll be Early at the 2, the 10, the 15, has the 20, the 30, the 40. He is across midfield. The 35, the 30, and Conway makes the tackle. And Rashawn Early jumpstarts this Golden Gopher crowd.
Wow. Penn State special teams with a breakdown on the kickoff return. At the point of attack, once they hit that front wall for Minnesota, there was just no touching Rashawn Early. He just found the hole and went with it. Brett Conway doesn't want to have to be making a lot of tackles this year.
No, good thing he was there in time to make that stop. That was a touchdown-saving tackle.
And some good blocking out in front by Paul Cratchivell. He's one of the backup tight ends for Minnesota that freed Early to pick up 20 or 30 more yards, and Minnesota's in business.
Scott Eckers barking out the signals for Golden Gophers. 1st and 10 at the Penn State 22. Darkins inside the 15. He had a little bit of real estate there, off tackle on the right side. And that is a good start for this Minnesota offense that has been so productive under Scott Eckers.
Scott Eckers, the senior for Minnesota. He beat out Tim Shade, who started against Penn State last year. A lot of people saying, wow, Shade, who throws for over 400 yards against Penn State's on the bench. Wow, that Scott Eckers must be really something. Here you see the offensive line.
Pretty good size up there in front.
Some experience along the offensive line for Minnesota. We'll check out the backs and receivers.
2nd down and 4. Minnesota trying to get right back in this football game. It's Darkins again. Cuts and jukes, gets down inside the 13, call it the 11-yard line. That'll be 2nd down and a short 2 for Minnesota.
The left side of the offensive line for Minnesota is where they have their most experience. Let's see if that's where this one's going to go. Darkins is going to go over the left side. Tomey and Verton, a couple of returning starters along the offensive line for Minnesota, pushing out that Penn State defensive line. Darkins, 610 yards rushing last year, but in this offense, he's not going to rush for 1,000 yards, although he's talented enough he could.
3rd down and 1, Minnesota. They go double tight. Eckers drops the football, and I think Penn State's on top of it. Yes, they are. That is Jeff Perry with the football. And exactly what Minnesota did all of last year, self-destructing. They had a great opportunity, but Penn State pounces on the football. It's the Nittany Lions 7, Minnesota nothing. You're watching Penn State football on TV 10. Okay, yeah, correct me as soon as you come back.
Oh, geez.
No, they'll hold him up for a minute. No, they won't either.
They're not holding him up.
What's the deal here, Dave? Damn it. Talk to me, Dave. How much longer? Can't be missing 2 plays. God. We can't do this anymore. You can't miss game action. Well, we can't. I don't care what we do. This is a disservice to everybody involved. This is ridiculous.
You just scored a touchdown.
This is ridiculous.
Sorry, while we were away, a touchdown for Penn State. Ki-Jana Carter, his 2nd touchdown of the game. An unbelievably long run. Hopefully we'll take a look at it here in instant replay. I know we will. We have to. We apologize deeply. But Penn State has just dropped a bomb on the Minnesota Golden Gophers and head coach Jim Wacker with their 2nd touchdown here in the 1st quarter. And we've still got 6:37 to play.
Brett Conway to attempt the point after. Kick is up and it is good, and it's Penn State 14, Minnesota nothing. And one of the greatest runs you haven't seen yet. We promised to get it to you. It was special, and here it is.
From their own 20 at
Look
the point
at him
of attack.
just kick it.
Whitman just kicks it out.
Watch
Bobby Ingram. All he had to do was get in somebody's way. He didn't even hit Juwan Hunter. And Ki-Jana Carter just does the rest on his own. His speed, obviously the pictures speak for themselves. He's into the end zone, 80 yards. He's on his way, obviously, to a 100-yard game. If he hasn't already gone over 100 yards, we'll have the stats for you as soon as we can. But we're sorry we missed it originally, but there you see it in instant replay. The Nittany Lions now on top, 14-0.
Ki-Jana Carter proving why he is considered to be one of the best tailbacks in the country. You just simply do not catch him from behind. If he has a step on you, he's gone, and he weighs 220 pounds.
Yeah, you see where he's going. He goes right over to the bench where the offensive linemen are hanging out, say, hey man, you guys really did a good job breaking open a hole for me, and I was gone. You keep opening up those holes, and I'll just keep taking it for touchdowns. And you know, guys like Greeley and they love to see their running backs get over 100 yards, and you know they're happy right now when they see number 32 from the back, 50, 60, 70, 80 yards downfield.
That's what they play for. They don't get much from us. They don't get much ink. They don't get much publicity. That's what they enjoy. They just had as much fun as they can have out on the football field.
And you know, earlier in the game, Minnesota's obviously making us look pretty intelligent when it comes to describing football, because we said one of the keys for them is they have to hold on to the football. That turnover looms so large right now because Minnesota doesn't want to have to play catch up against Penn State like they did a year ago. They ended up losing. That turnover deep in Penn State territory is quite big at this point.
Conway set to kick it away from his own 35. Not going to be early this time. And Penn State is going to have to cover a little better than it's done so far. And another good return out to the 28-yard line.
Rodney Heath there, Paul, the cornerback defensively back there in the twin receivers. And I'll tell you what, Penn State, if there's just one thing you want to point out, a glaring weakness at this point, is that they're not playing well special teams. Nittany Lions defensive line, you see Chris Mazika in there. Some of his teammates will say they think he's been around here forever, but the NCAA giving him that extra year of eligibility after the shooting wound that he has suffered. And there you see the rest of the Nittany Lions secondary. Let's see what they can do here now that Minnesota has the ball in their second position.
And look at Minnesota. No one behind Eckers in the backfield. 5 receivers out in the pattern. Good rush by Perry. The pass is complete. That is number 21, Javon Jackson. He has been very impressive in the preseason. He has earned some playing time, and he makes the completion, gains about 4, 2nd down and 6 for Minnesota.
You will never see probably 2 downs in a row Minnesota come out with the same set offensively, and that's what's going to make it tough for Penn State's defense. With the injuries that they suffered, they have some players out there who aren't as good at reading offenses as some of the guys like Brian Gelsheiser or Josh Kroll. So it's up to Willie Smith and Cliff Dingle and those guys out there to make the correct reads.
Penn State has 5 defensive backs in there, kind of a nickel package. Kim Herring, number 3, is the 5th defensive back. Eckers with the lay handoff, gives it to Darkins. Darkins has some room across the left side, across the 40 to the 43-yard line. That's good enough for Minnesota 1st down, as Darkins looks to be very good out of the backfield for Minnesota.
Well executed play by the Minnesota offensive line. They get the flow going one way, and then Eckers just hands it off the other way. Just one blocker out there to help Darkins and free him, but because that flow was going the other way, he's able to pick up good yardage. Gives Minnesota 1st down now out of the Golden Gopher 43-yard line.
Aaron Osterman, a receiver, a walk-on that's been very impressive here at Minnesota, doing a great job with some downfield blocking for the Golden Gophers. Penn State looks to be rushing just 3 on this play as they drop everybody back in the secondary. Eckers pumps once, throws again, across the middle, picked off Penn State. Unbelievable. That is Cliff Dingle with the interception off the tip ball, and once again, it's almost like that tape on Mission Impossible, self-destructing in 30 seconds.
Well, I'll tell you what, Eckers didn't know what was happening defensively when he looked out at what Penn State was doing, because they did rush 3 people, and it's kind of like what Penn State did against Miami in the Fiesta Bowl. They would drop 8 people back in coverage. What they did against Vinny Testaverde, they dropped 8 people back, and when you're going up against 5 receivers is what Minnesota threw out there. Some guys are getting double teamed. They just drop back into their zones, and Eckers was just throwing right into the team.
Coverage in the secondary because Eckers was looking. Penn State now with another opportunity, setting up with a new set of downs. Just, well, let's put it at the 41-yard line. 14-0 in favor of Penn State. 5:53 remaining in the 1st quarter, and we've had a lot of action in a short amount of time.
Great 1st quarter. If the Penn State can get one more here, the crowd little by little is fading out of the.
Well, it was 21-6, I think, at the end of the 1st quarter last year. And here's Penn State with an I formation. Freddie Scott, the slot right, goes in motion towards the ball, turns around, comes back to the short side. Fake to the fullback. Collins back to pass, is going to go deep. He's got Ingram, just overthrown. He was open. Overthrown by a stride way down at the Minnesota 20-yard line.
Well, you won't get Bobby any more open than that for the rest of the season, but that's the play we were talking about. Play action, one-on-one with Ingram. You're not going to cover him. He broke it up the sidelines, into a post. Would have been an easy touchdown. First mistake really that Collins made.
Jason Konzemius was the cover man, but he was really a spectator. Penn State with Phil Collins now in at a wide receiver position, replacing Bobby Ingram, who just did a sprint of about 80 yards. Penn State in an I formation. Fake to Whitman, give to Mike Archie, the tailback, breaks across the 40. Out to the 43-yard line before he's knocked down. Jordan, the defender, making the play for the Minnesota Gophers. The ball spotted just beyond the 43, so we'll have a 2nd down and a long 7.
It's a tough thing for Minnesota right now. They came in with a game plan. They figured they better stop Penn State's running, and they haven't been that successful. And Penn State's got 2 touchdowns, so they're still jamming up on the line of scrimmage. Penn State went deep, could have had another easy one.
Ki-Jana Carter is watching the action. He already has 219 yards. Collins back to pass, rifles one to Brady at the 49, and he makes the catch. A good snag. Konzemius makes the stop, shy of the 1st down by perhaps 2 yards. But those big arms reached up and grabbed it. Kyle Brady has 2 receptions tonight.
And Joe likes that. You know why? because he caught the ball in his hands, just missed the first down. Penn State's first punt of the game, and something that Joe's concerned about.
Joe Juravicius is the man, and Aaron Osterman is the man back to receive the punt. The protector is Gerald Filardi. Brad Pantal is the snapper. Big high punt. Fair catch signal for it, but it's way over his head and into the end zone. Joe got that one on the right foot.
Well, if you were a specialty team coach, you would like to get somebody. It would have been tough because it really bounced in there, but he had plenty of time. Protection was excellent. It was a fine punt. Minnesota starts off at their 20.
14-0. Penn State leading with still 4:26 remaining. And as I mentioned, in that last series, Mike Archie was the tailback, and Ki-Jana Carter has done a fair evening's work in the first half of the first quarter, scoring 2 touchdowns, rushing 7 times for 119 yards.
Yeah, but if they hit Ingram on that touchdown pass, they could have put the game away.
Tools out. All right, normal set this time for Minnesota. That means 1 setback, and that guy is Chris Darkins, and he's a good one. Penn State now with still the 5-man in the backfield, gives to Darkins. He breaks it at the corner, and Tony Pittman has to come up to make the stop from the front side. And that's a gain of about 8 yards on the play.
Well, Terry Killens is a great athlete. Someday he's going to be a great linebacker. He's playing outside. That was his fault. He's got to learn with experience. What they did, Dawkins started up towards the center. He tried to go to the inside, make the tackle. He's not going to make the tackle. And Dawkins broke it to the outside where he should have been and made a nice game.
They have a wing slot this time on the right, a wide receiver each way, a tight end on the left side, and Darkins the lone setback as Scott Eckers, the quarterback, wags his head. Deep handoff again to Darkins running to the outside. They're finding the corner. He's at the 35. He's at the 40 and down to the 43-yard line before Willie Smith can bring him down. And they are running the corners of Penn State.
Well, that time they went at Jeff Perry. He's not the quickest guy in the world, but again, not being a homer, I thought he got held on that one. He was knocked down from behind. But they're going at Penn State's, as you say, to the outside, trying to stretch the defense a little bit.
Jason Collins comes in at the hero position, or strong safety, replacing Clint Holes. And once again, it's the same formation for Minnesota with the slot left. Eckers again, a give to Darkins. No place to go this time. 1 too often to the well, and Terry Killens did the job.
They're feeling each other out like fighters. That time they ran that counter to the short side, but I know that's Willie Smith, that they moved from outside to inside. He's calling the defensive signals, which Gelsheiser would have called if he was playing.
So we have Jason Collins, one of the Collins boys from Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Big family, and all of them having such fine careers here at Penn State, so he gets baptized here tonight. They have 3 wide receivers to the left this time. In motion goes Darkins. There's nobody back there but a passer in Scott Eckers. A quick look over screen attempt to the middle. It was intended for Johnny Woodson, but it was incomplete.
Yeah, but that time Perry came in clean. Perry almost knocked the ball down, knocked the ball right back in the quarterback's face. Nobody touched him. Good pass rush by Perry, number 82. He used to be a tight end, and I remember when he was a little disconsolate because he wasn't playing too much. He's turned into a fine defensive player.
While these young men were not starters last year, a lot of them got a lot of experience, and Jeff Perry is one of them. 1 setback this time, and here comes Darkins in motion. There is nobody back there. So Eckers on a 3-step drop. Looks, throws, incomplete at the 50-yard line. Good coverage by Kim Herring on the play. And it's an incomplete pass. 3rd down and about 8.
Well, that should have been caught.
That
should have been caught. Penn State had good 3-man rush. I think Dow and the big tight end.
He was the intended receiver.
Yeah, he dropped it. He just dropped it. It was in his hands. It was a good throw by Eckers. You know, when you think about Shade, who's not playing, he threw for over 500 yards last year, and he's sitting on a bench, you know.
Bobby Ingram will be back in a single safety. And the punter is Hubbard. Hubbard's kick will be taken by Ingram at the 20. He's at the 25. The 30 almost spins loose, but is finally knocked over. Ingram had to really race upfield.
There they go. Flag, I'm fighting.
Punt, and we have a fighting flag.
So, well, I don't know. There's 2 flags.
Marlon Forbes.
They're going to throw him out of the game.
Terrence Blaine. Let's see what the situation is. Marlon Forbes will be gone for the rest of the half. And we'll see if Blaine is also. They did not come to the Minnesota bench. So apparently Forbes is the only culprit.
Well, you know,
Joe's a little upset.
Of course you're upset. You're losing a good player, an experienced player, and I'm sure he talked all the last 2 weeks about this new rule that if you get caught fighting, you're out of the game for a half.
He's out for the rest of the first half.
Yeah. And plus
he was not thrown out. Okay.
He wasn't thrown out? Okay. Well, you got the penalty, but, you know, when I saw the two flags, I thought they were going to offset each other, but they called it on Forbes. So.
It's the second time that he gets penalized.
Well, that's a good rule, Fran. You know, sometimes it's going to backfire on everybody. After what happened in Wisconsin last year.
He's not in the game, but the reason is Joe Paterno, not the official.
Yeah, I doubt if you see him back in the game.
All right, it's 1st and 10, Penn State at the 15-yard line. We got to spot the ball for you following the penalty. And Penn State with 2 wide receivers to the left, and Mike Archie is the tailback. In motion is Freddie Scott from the slot to the right side. And the deep handoff goes to Archie. Archie lowers his head and gets a couple, that's all. Across the 15 to the 17-yard line as they stack it up in the middle. Langford, middle linebacker, in there as the first man to make contact.
Well, still it was 1st and 10 because that was, you know, the penalty was 15. But what Penn State lost in that was field position.
2nd down and 8. We have a 14-0 game with 2 minutes remaining. Penn State leading 2 minutes in the first quarter, and Ki-Jana Carter is back in at the tailback position. They're stacking it up in the middle, as everybody does for against Penn State.
Well, you're taking some chances, but when you get a guy wide open like Ingram was, you got to hit him.
Penn State in a pro eye this time, a wide receiver each way. Fake to Whitman, fake to Carter. Look, throw to Ingram, complete at the 30-yard line. A perfect curl pattern at the sideline by Ingram. Rodney Heath couldn't keep track of him. First down, Penn State at the 31.
He's a great receiver. Last time he was wide open. That time he started to go deep. The cornerback has to separate, and he just planted the foot, came back, designed play. Perfect throw by Kerry Collins.
Great timing.
He's excellent. Picking up right where he left off in the last 3 games.
1st and 10, Penn State at the 31. We're down to a minute and a half to play in the first quarter with Penn State leading 14-0. We're happy that you're with us. We hope you'll keep with us all season long. Kyle Brady now shifts from right tight end to left. In motion from the left side is Chris Campbell. He's the flanker. Fake, play action fake to Whitman, given to Carter. Carter breaks the tackle in the backfield and makes a 1-yard gain out of what should have been a 4-yard loss. Somebody broke clean.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a game in the inside on that.
Jerome Davis almost grabbed him in the backfield. We'll call it no gain. 2nd and 10 at the 31.
All right. Well, you know, Penn State has been very successful running up in the middle because Minnesota was defensing the outside. That time Minnesota had a little bit of a stun inside. Look for Penn State to run the ball outside.
14-0. Penn State leading. 45 seconds left in the first quarter. Here come the wide receivers to the right side this time. And here's a fake to the right. Rolling to the right is Kerry Collins. He has the option to run. Instead throws complete to Scott at the 45, out of bounds to the 48. Perfect rollout pass by Kerry Collins. And Rodney Heath forced him out of bounds at the 47, 48-yard line. First down, Penn State. As the offense continues to be very sharp.
Fran, that's all attributed to the running game. They faked inside. That was a naked boot. He came out all by himself. Scott was in the slot. Wide receiver cleared out. He broke it off, and Collins put it right on the money.
Scott has 3 catches for 25 yards, and John Whitman, of course, was the fakie on that one. All right, here comes Penn State this time in an I formation. The wide receivers are at the left side. There's a give to Carter. Carter's clogged at the 50-yard line. Not much room.
Well,
Doyle Cockrell got him.
Yeah, they're jamming inside. Now, we had talked about using Kyle Brady, but early on in the game, they were over-shifting to him, and they got some big plays inside. Now they're not. But I think fake and hit Kyle Brady over the middle, they might get a big play because there's just one person there, and they're not going to prevent that big guy from releasing from the line.
I don't think we'll get another play away, and we won't, as we go to the end of the first quarter. After the first quarter, the score, Penn State 14, Minnesota nothing. Now this word from your local station on the Penn State Sports Network.
Toyota Corolla has been a benchmark of Toyota reliability for over 25 years. And reliability is one of the leading reasons so many people choose Corolla. Toyota Corolla sets the standard for refinement in its class. It's quieter, roomier, and rides more comfortably than most others. You can count on Toyota Corolla for lower repair costs and higher resale value. And you can count on Toyota special lease plans to help you get the Corolla you want and the savings you need. See your Toyota dealer today.
If you're planning to watch some football, also make plans to head to the American Eagle Outlet. This is John Corby, and the American Eagle Outlet has plenty of sweatshirts and jeans and just got a major fall shipment of fall coats and sweaters. Everything you'll need to stay comfy no matter what the weather at the stadium. Quality men's and women's casual wear with the best selection anywhere and big discounts of up to 70%. Shop American Eagle Outlet. Then when you go to the game, you can look at the other fans who paid full price and say, boy, am I smart. American Eagle Outlets, Route 51 South near Century 3 Mall, and in the Grove City Factory Shops, exit 31 and Route 79 North.
Want to remind you to play football and double dose. The two new instant games from the Pennsylvania Lottery. Proceeds benefit us older Pennsylvanians. That Penn State line that we've been talking about, Bucky Greeley is the center. He's a fifth-year senior from Wilkes-Barre-Coughlin High School. Jeff Hardings, Marco Rivera, the guards, Keith Conlon, and Andre Johnson, the tackles. It's a big line. Johnson's a 301-pounder, but it's a quick line. Kyle Brady, of course, is the tight end, and he's played at that position throughout the first quarter.
Minnesota's doing some substituting on defense and trying to get fresh people in there.
They've been on the field a little while. Minnesota only 4 yards passing in the first quarter, which is kind of unusual. Penn State in a pro eye. And we had movement up front. We have a flag as Kerry Collins is buried back at the 40-yard line. But I'm sure, well, I'm not sure. I'm reasonably sure it's offsides against Minnesota.
It sure looked like that unless some interior lineman moved. But I think what happened when the one defensive lineman from Minnesota moved, the other guy jumped too. And I think it's 5 yards against Minnesota. Unless, you know, sometimes you miss an interior offensive lineman. Yeah, sure, we could call it, Fran. You got it right.
This is a sharp offensive display. The noise has not been the factor we thought, but this line is off the mark. There's been no premature movement up front.
It's a cohesive offensive line. They all know what they're doing. As I say, outside, Kerry's had excellent protection. Outside of the one miss on Ingram, maybe he should have got a little bit more air under the ball and let Bobby run under it. It's pretty close to being a 90 out of 100 mark for their offense in this first quarter.
Trevor Walker was the culprit, the offside culprit, I should say. So the penalty makes it second down and a little better than 3. The ball at the Minnesota 45-yard line. Again, it's a pro eye. Well, not really. The fullback is offset a little bit to the left.
That's an offset cheat for a blocking.
There's a give to Carter to the right. Gets to the outside. Gets the first down inside the 40 at the 39 before Jordan can force him out of bounds for the Golden Gophers of Minnesota.
Ki-Jana proves that he's only human. That time he should have stayed up into the inside. He put a fake on, and he forgot he had the sideline to contend with as the 12th man, and it ran him out of bounds. But that offside penalty gave Penn State a position to make that first down. I thought they might go play action and go deep again.
I'll tell you, George, every time Ki-Jana takes the ball, I kind of gasp because
exciting.
You just don't know what might happen.
Sure.
All right, here's that same formation now with Ki-Jana Carter, the tailback. He gets the call, and bang, is he smacked. Loss on the play back to the 43-yard line. The middle linebacker, Ben Langford, plugged the hole and smacked him good.
That's the same stunt that they used before. That's anticipation, defensive anticipation.
Almost a guess?
Yeah, it's a guess. Sure, that's one time. Well, there's a lot of guessing going on out there, and both offense and defensively. I'm sure you're going to see Penn State fake that, and they're still covering Bobby Ingram on first and running downs one-on-one.
Second down at 14 yards to go. Penn State at the Minnesota 44-yard line, leading 14-0, just underway in the second quarter. Back to pass, Collins looks, throws. Brady all alone in the right flank sideline, and catches the ball and is forced out of bounds at the 32.
He looks so much more agile, and as I said, he's getting his hands, catch it in the hands. He used to let it hit his chest and drop a few, and I tell you, it took 2 people to bring him down. Nice pass route. That was a tough catch because the ball was thrown behind him.
Penn State holding on. I shouldn't say holding on. Staying with that 14-0 lead with 13:31 remaining in the first half. And Kyle Brady, when God made him, he had tight end in mind. I'll tell you that.
If there's a better tight end all around the country, I have to see him. Plus, Penn State is controlling the football, which they want to do.
New fullback in there. Brian Milne is the fullback called. Whoops, we have a flag. Do we have premature movement? I think we may have whammied this team when I mentioned they have been so precise, and we may get our first illegal procedure penalty. Keith Conlon may have flexed his muscles. That's what it is.
Well, for a first game, so far it's been excellent. Remember a couple of years, last year, in fact, the first couple of games we had 5, 6, 7 false starts by the offensive linemen.
Makes a 3rd and long now, and ball marched back outside the 35 to the 36-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 7. Mike Archie is in at tailback to join Brian Milne in the backfield. Freddie Scott is the flanker left, and Bobby Ingram is the split end to the right. Kyle Brady is tight end left. Collins back to pass, throws. It's complete to Ingram at the 26-yard line. 1st down, Penn State. Terrence Blaine makes the stop, and they're giving him ground. I mean,
well, but actually they had double coverage. Yeah. What he did, he went such beautiful routes. He got past the corner, the underneath man. The safety that went to 2 deep came over to help out. As soon as he read that, he curled it back to the inside, and Collins just threw a bullet out there. This is precision offensive football.
So there's a couple of good reads on that one by the wide receiver. Collins is 9 for 12 for 78 yards, and now John Whitman is back in the ball game at the fullback slot, although they're split. And Mike Archie is the tailback. Dropped the pass. There's downfield to Scott. He's got a touchdown. A beautiful touch.
That was a checkoff, I believe. But again, they're jamming on a line of scrimmage. Ingram was the primary guy going in. We said we felt they had to get Scott involved in the passing game. One-on-one, and Scott that time. Beautiful little fade pattern right up the sidelines, and Collins threw it perfect.
Rodney Heath was beaten, and a feathery kind of pass. As Coach Paterno has suggested, that has been one of the things that he felt Kerry Collins needed to improve.
Yeah. All right, here comes the extra point. I don't want to make another comment.
Okay. Brett Conway, of course, will kick out of Phil Collins' set. Greeley snaps on these extra points. It's a good one. It's set. It's up. It's through. Penn State 21, Minnesota nothing. Let's take a timeout. This is the Penn State Sports Network.
Remember what the roads around here were like last winter? Then you ought to be headed to your Subaru dealer right now. Because cold, snowy, miserable driving conditions are where the beauty of a Subaru really shines through. Unlike ordinary front and rear-wheel drive systems, Subaru all-wheel drive automatically transfers power from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip for outstanding traction in rain, slush, or snow. Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive.
Your Subaru dealer invites you to come in and experience the beauty of all-wheel drive.
You want to get the performance you deserve from your car? Use Texaco Clean System 3 gasolines, an advanced system of engine cleaning that works over time for higher performance, lower emissions, and improved mileage. Next time, fill up with Clean System 3, one of the quality products from Texaco, star of the American Road, and Penn State proud.
Brought to you by Texaco and your local Texaco retailer.
Fran, I'd like to make a comment on what Collins did. You know, anybody can throw a long touchdown pass once in a while. That had a beautiful touch. But what's really making this offense go tonight, when they need 3rd down plays, he's been hitting short passes. He's hit Brady, you know, and that keeps the ball moving, keeps the chains moving. So then the defense gets closer and closer, and then you pull the trigger and you go deep. This is precision offensive football. Penn State and their coaches have Penn State ready, especially offensively tonight.
That was a 10-play, 85-yard drive for Penn State, taking 4 minutes and 3 seconds.
Pick them apart.
Brett Conway has the ball teed up on the 35-yard line. He'll be kicking to Rashawn Early and Rodney Heath. Early to the left side. There's a banger that is not going to get to the end zone and goes out of bounds. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Minnesota at its 35-yard line. I don't know whether that was accidental or on purpose. It was a knuckleball.
I think it was on purpose. I think it was a change of pace. They were kicking deep, and they were returning pretty good, and they thought they were going to get a squibber right in the dead center of the field.
So, you know, the newest varsity sport at Penn State is the Penn State women's soccer team. The Lady Lions will play their first home game Friday night, September 9th, versus Cornell. Game time 7 p.m. at Jeffrey Field. So be a part of history in the making. The first Lady Lion home soccer game Friday night, September 9. All right, we have a whole new defensive unit in there for Penn State. True freshman Brad Scioli at one end, Dave Thomas, Brandon Noble inside, Fornadel at one defensive end, and we have a momentary timeout before we can get the ball snapped.
They were short a man. I
Penn
believe
State had to call
Stewart.
timeout.
Stewart wasn't on the field, but you know what happens when you get a nice lead like this early in the game? Now the pressure's on Minnesota, so your defense practically knows that they're not going to try to run the ball too much because they take time off the clock. So that helps you set your defenses looking for the pass.
There's a break in the action with the score Penn State 21, Minnesota nothing. Now this word from your local station. This is the Penn State Sports Network.
If you're planning to watch some football, also make plans to head to the American Eagle Outlet. This is John Corby, and the American Eagle Outlet has plenty of sweatshirts and jeans and just got a major fall shipment of fall coats and sweaters. Everything you'll need to stay comfy no matter what the weather at the stadium. Quality men's and women's casual wear with the best selection anywhere and big discounts of up to 70%. Shop American Eagle Outlet. Then when you go to the game, you can look at the other fans who paid full price and say, boy, am I smart. American Eagle Outlets, Route 51 South near Century 3 Mall, and in the Grove City Factory Shops, exit 31 and Route 79 North.
Haas's is hospitality.
At Haas's Steak and Sea House, our Hostoberfest lunch salad bar is just $3.99. Over 100 items. There's homemade chili and cornbread, freshly baked breads, fruits and desserts, and new toppings for our soft-serve frozen yogurt. Haas's lunch salad bar just $3.99 for a limited time. Monday through Saturday from 10:30 to 4 p.m. Visit your neighborhood Haas's today.
Haas's Steak and Sea House. Haas's is hospitality.
Very quickly, they snap the ball, and it's a wide sweep to the left. He's got open running room. He's across the 50-yard line, but there's a flag on the play. He got all the way to the 35-yard line in Penn State territory, but a flag at the point of impact.
That's holding.
And we have a hold.
Yeah, I can see it from up here. But I'll tell you what, that Dawkins got great speed. That play was designed to go up inside, took it to the outside. You got a whole new bunch of kids on defense. They got suckered by the first move, enabling him to almost turn the corner, but there was a hole on the corner.
Let's take a 10-second break for station identification. Here's another great radio station on the Penn State Sports Network, a division of Paxson Sports.
KDKA, Pittsburgh.
Jason Collins was tackled by Garrison, and so the penalty, which again has been one of the problems for Minnesota, marks the ball all the way back to the 29-yard line, where it'll be first down and 17 yards to go. Here's three wide receivers to the right. Darkins the lone setback. They give to Darkins right straight ahead. He has running room out across the 30 to the 31 before Chris Mazik can bring him down. We have some substitutions in there. We have the freshman Brad Scioli at one defensive end, and let's see if
you got Filardi.
We have Aaron Collins in there, and Gerald Filardi is in at middle linebacker, as is Mark Tate as at a cornerback. And here goes Mazik out of the ball game, and in comes Snyder, Chris Snyder at one defensive end. So we have a three-man rush and a nickel package.
He's giving his players a blow here.
There's a deep handoff to the tailback Darkins. Darkins runs upfield and is collared by Tate, or ankled, I should, by Tate, as he breaks across the 35 to the 36.5-yard line.
Well, what Minnesota's doing now, Penn State's playing a nickel package on every down, anticipating pass they're trying to run. But one thing I want to make a comment. When you're a substitute coming in, especially a linebacker or a deep guy, it's difficult to gauge the speed of an offensive back. You got to see him run or chase him a little bit. And early on, sometimes you underestimate the guy's speed and you get caught out of position.
They have that trip set, and they break off and like a Chinese fire drill, so that there's absolutely nobody in the backfield. And five wide receivers, three left, two right, and back to pass goes Eckers. A three-man rush for Penn State, throws over the middle, incomplete.
Again, great coverage and great pressure, and Scioli, number 5, playing in his first big-time football game, put a lot of heat on the quarterback, and I'm sure the Penn State defensive coaches are happy about that.
Eckers was looking for Chuck Rios, the man who's been in the slot in place of the normal man there, Tony Levine. And the fourth down will bring up the punting situation with Hubert doing the kicking. And we have Bobby Ingram back in a single safety for Penn State. It's a good snap. Penn State has a return on it. It's a wobbly kick to the right, away from Ingram. But Ingram fields it on the short hop, goes to the far sideline, reverses his field, comes to the near sideline, 30, 35, and bang, down he goes at the 38. Oh, boy.
Well, you know, you mentioned we haven't had a punt return for a touchdown in a long time. And if this kid keeps kicking short like that to Ingram, he's going to break one.
Ogun Akbar makes the stop. Bobby went to the near sideline, and the coverage team took his bait to that near sideline. He came back toward us, or to the far side. He came back toward us, and Akbar was able to recover.
Personally, he shouldn't have handled it, though. You don't take a chance with a bouncing football like that with a 21-point lead, give them a ball and give them a chance to get back in the game. But, you know, they beat a heck of a Tennessee team, and he was outstanding. People don't realize how good this kid is.
Milne and Carter in the backfield. Phil Collins and looks like Freddie Scott in the flanker position. There's a give to Carter. He breaks to the right. He's at the 35, the 40, the 45, the 50. He may go the distance. They'll not catch Ki-Jana Carter. Penn State touchdown on a 62-yard scamper.
Fran,
what an evening.
You're not going to see any better blocking. I'll tell you what, the blocking also, the wideouts, they put a slot, twins to the sidelines, getting the linebacker. Both those kids made blocks, opening up a crack, an alleyway for Ki-Jana to get around the corner. Once he gets into the secondary, he just outruns everybody.
Well, I'll tell you, there's been a lot of publicity about a couple of tailbacks in the Big Ten, Tyrone Wheatley and Brent Moss of Wisconsin. There will be some people talking about Ki-Jana Carter.
And this team, Minnesota, beat Wisconsin.
Brett Conway in to attempt his 4th extra point. Phil Collins gets the snap, puts it down, it's kicked up, it's through. More action on the way after this word. It's a 28-0 score in favor of Penn State on the Penn State Sports Network.
Everybody knows that milk's full of calcium to build strong bones, riboflavin to help boost energy, and potassium for great reflexes. But to demonstrate these benefits, we've selected a member of the Penn State Marching Band, hi, to play his instrument before drinking a glass of milk. Oh, that's fine, thank you. Now the delicious glass of milk. He's drinking, he's finished. Okay, let's see if we can detect any difference. I can. Milk, it does a body good. Sponsored by Pennsylvania Dairy Farmers, Pennsylvania Dairy Promotion Program.
You know, some of those plays that they've executed are just like you draw them up on the blackboard. Every man making his block, the back making the perfect cut, the back getting into the alleyway, turning on the speed, outrunning everybody. I have never seen, so far in the first quarter, Penn State ever execute any better offensively as they've done in this first, well, quarter and a half against Minnesota, because this is a pretty good Minnesota team. You know, they beat Wisconsin last year.
That play went to the short side. And, boy, that takes execution in order to break it that far, because you run out of running room very quickly unless you get those 2 blocks from the flanker.
And they both made their blocks. They both made perfect blocks. 2 wideouts, 2 little wideouts.
There's another knuckleball kick that's going to go into the end zone. That's to keep it away from Rashawn Early and Rodney Heath, both of whom have had significant kickoff returns, particularly early. It's interesting that Eckers is just 1 pass for 5 yards, and Shade has been warming up in the bullpen. We'll see if he joins the huddle. We know who Shade is because he passed for 478 yards against Penn State, and he's going to be the quarterback.
Yeah, it's not going to make much difference, I don't think. They're out of whack right now. What happened, Penn State jumped on them with that quick lead, and they haven't, and playing excellent defense in the secondary, but with a nickel package and with a good 3-man rush, and put them behind the 8 ball.
Tim Shade, a big boy, 6'5", 228. He's a 5th-year senior also, and he's straight back to pass. And he looks and he spots, and it's complete to Osterman at the 30-yard line. He's across the 35 and out to the 38. Just a quick pass to the split end Osterman, and Jason Collins finally made the tackle for Penn State.
Well, Miller played it a little too soft at that time. They had a slot. Osterman was the wide guy. Miller was the cornerback. He was way off about 15 yards, a little stop pattern, and he caught the ball in front of him. And Penn State will let him do that now because they don't want to give up any big plays.
Brandon Noble, Jeff Perry, part of that down lineman. Todd Atkins has also entered the defensive end, trips to the left. There's a fake play action, throwing over the middle, incomplete. There was some clog up there as Atkins, and now we have another flag thrown.
Well, Atkins taunted him. Now, that's a dumb play, and I don't understand Todd. I never seen him do that before. He's not going to get thrown out. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty. He taunted him. He put down Shade. Maybe you remember last year. Sacked him, grabbed his arm from behind, and then taunted him, and they threw the flag. And out he comes.
Todd Atkins will watch a good share of this ballgame from the
look
bench
at Joe
because
Paterno.
Joe is really upset. He has preached and preached and preached that situation.
Well, it's not only that, it's bully type of tactics, you know, and that's not Penn State style. It's only going to rile up Minnesota.
The penalty assessed all the way to the Penn State 48-yard line, and the Gophers in Penn State territory for the second time this evening. They got deep once and had to give it over on a fumble. Shade is the quarterback. Darkins is the tailback. 3 wide receivers left. The tight end is right. He's checking off somehow. He's straight back on a 5-step drop. Looks, throws to the sideline, threw it away. Good coverage. And it didn't seem like there were many guys in the pattern that time.
Well, they're trying to get to their single patterns. They're trying to give them a little bit more protection too. That was just a deep out, which was went awry. You know, they was trying to get it behind the cornerback in front of the safety coming over. Penn State's playing very loose in the secondary. That's smart. You know, you got a 28-point lead. Don't give up any quick touchdowns. Let them work for what they get and take time off the clock. But I doubt if you see Atkins back in this football game because that infuriates Joe Paterno, that kind of
Brandon
action.
Noble comes in and Tate goes out. So Tate had been the nickel guy in this second unit. 3 wide receivers to the left. Deep handoff Darkins. Whole right side. Bang! He's smacked by Willie Smith as he got to the 45-yard line. A good head-on-head collision there, but good forward movement by Darkins.
Bottom of the pile, Chris Mazik, and we're happy to see him playing. And Willie Smith, it's a 3rd down situation. And again, Penn State does not, with a comfortable lead, want to give Minnesota any easy touchdowns and let him get back into this game.
Mark Tate in as that 5th defensive back. Brandon Noble goes out, and it's a 3rd down and 6 yards to go at the 44-yard line in Penn State territory. Minnesota with the ball, trying to get another 1st down if they can get it. And Shade is back to pass. He throws complete at the 40-yard line, but a superb play by Terry Killens prevented him from getting additional yardage. He's stopped short of the 40-yard line. It'll be 4th down and 2 yards to go.
You see how quick he was in covering that man-to-man across the field. Lance Lampiano was in there, number 8. I think I saw it for Penn State.
That's Jason Collins.
That's Jason. Oh,
yeah,
that
right.
was number 6? Or was it? Oh, Jason. All right,
Jason's
we got
number
2 8.
Right, and Aaron is number 6.
It's Jason Collins.
It's 4th down and 2. They're not going to punt. They're at the 40-yard line just about in Penn State territory. And let's see if they shift out of this 2-back set. And Shade is shouting and calls timeout. He didn't like the looks of things, and a wise thing to do. This is a critical down for them.
Absolutely critical, and it's a long 2, Fran. It's not a short 2. Penn State had 9 people up on the line of scrimmage. I think he wanted to check off, but it was 4th down. It would have been 4th down.
There's a break in the action with the score of Penn State 28, Minnesota nothing. Now this word from your local station. This is the Penn State Sports Network.
I never expected so much.
I saved $122 on my vacation with Fayette Bank's Classic 50 Club.
Those are some of the comments about our checking account for customers 50 and over. There's no monthly fee when you maintain the minimum daily balance and plenty of money-saving benefits. Ask about Classic 50 Club and the added benefits of Classic 50 Club Plus with no minimum balance and a low monthly fee. Visit your neighborhood Fayette Bank office today. An affiliate of BT Financial Corporation, certain restrictions apply.
Hi, Pittsburgh. Keith Langston, Bianchi Subaru, Route 286, Monroeville. The great Bianchi Subaru clearance sale is happening now. We will sell you any of our 94 Impreza or Legacy models at absolute invoice and deduct the entire factory rebate, as much as $1,500. This means you can buy a nicely equipped Impreza sedan for as little as $10,202 or a similar Legacy sedan for only $12,714. Only at Bianchi Subaru, Route 286, Monroeville.
All right, they come with the same set with a slot right, wide receiver each way, and the lone setback is Darkins. 4 down linemen for Penn State. The linebackers are very tight, as is the hero. They give to Darkins. He's coming wide. Will he get it the 1st down? Yes, at the 35. Good running by Darkins, and a good block by the big tight end as Cliff Dingle made the stop.
That's just good running. They didn't play that. Penn State's defense played it pretty good. Yeboah-Kodie was up there. He only had to make a short cut to the inside. Dawkins is a fine back. they got Noble in there and they got Snyder in there, and you're getting them a lot of work on defense.
Chris Snyder is a redshirt freshman from Chesapeake, Virginia. Brandon Noble is a junior from Virginia Beach, Virginia. And here come the 3 wide receivers to the left side, and Chris Darkins, who's been a yeoman runner at that tailback position. Penn State loosens up a little bit. Play action, back to pass. Shade has a man over the middle on the left hash mark, and it's complete to the 15-yard line. As leaping to make the catch was Garrison, and Tate makes the stop for Penn State. First down, Minnesota at the Penn State 15.
That's the best play they've run tonight. They had Garrison in a slot, and he just went straight upfield, turned around, little play action, and Shade laid it right in there. Nice play.
They being the Gophers, have been in this deep before, only to turn the ball over on a fumble. They would certainly like to get on the scoreboard as quickly as possible. 28-point deficit at this time. All right, they have a tight end and a wing, and he goes in motion, and they give to Darkins on a counter play. He runs to the right and can't get anywhere. Stacking it up was Willie Smith. He took the blocker right back into the runner.
Yeah, well, that was a counter, a form of their counter. Trey, Penn State read it perfectly. They've run it a few times before with some pretty good success. They stuffed it that time.
They didn't take the bait with Tang and the tight end moving from right to left.
They didn't take it at all. And
Atkins is back in the ball game at defensive end. Darkins is 11 carries for 56 yards. Darkins goes in motion. No backs in the backfield. Shade looking, straight back to pass. 3-man rush for Penn State. Throws in the end zone, incomplete. Good coverage down there by Penn State. He had nobody open.
He threw that away, Fran. I tell you, that's the first time that the quarterback on a straight drop back, nobody in the backfield, with 5 receivers out, had that much time. Prior to that, Penn State had been coming with just 3 or 4 people and putting pressure on him. That's a big play, obviously, because he's got to go for the touchdown on both plays. If he goes for a field goal now, he's going to get booed.
3rd down and 11. The ball at the 16-yard line. The loss on the running play preceding this incompleted pass makes it 3rd and a little better than 11, actually. Lone setback is Darkins. Here comes the motion man. That's Rios from left to right. He was in the slot left when he started. Play action pass. Looking, throwing. He's got a man at the 5. Overthrows him.
Well, he was short anyhow. It was just he hooked up, but he didn't get behind the yard markers. That wouldn't have been the first down. Now Rios, who's the backup to Dawkins, they've moved him outside because Levine, the other receiver, is hurt. But that wouldn't have gotten him the first down. Are they going to go for a field goal here?
Yes, they are. Chalberg is in to do the kicking.
Might be a fake, but I doubt it. I think he just wants to get on the scoreboard. Coach Wacker does at least get one score before the half.
The holder is Mike Kimball, who's a punter, so if he can throw the ball in addition to kicking it. I don't quite understand this. Down 28-0, but he wants to give him some encouragement, I guess. Chalberg's kick is up, and it's good. The field goal for Minnesota puts the Gophers on the scoreboard. The score, Penn State 28, Minnesota 3. Let's take a timeout. This is the Penn State Sports Network.
With homes, careers, and growing families, too, women today have more responsibilities than ever. And State Farm agents are trained to help women keep up with their growing life insurance needs. Your State Farm agent can help you develop an affordable life insurance plan that's right for your family and your budget. A plan that protects the people who are depending on you more than ever before. To learn more about life insurance, call your State Farm agent.
It's a pounding feeling.
It's attacking women across America.
I start panicking, feeling dizzy.
DDS, daily dinner time stress.
I don't know what to cook anymore.
Alleviate the symptoms. Make something different with Pork, the other white meat. It's fast, easy, and after just one use, boredom and pressure disappear.
One quick, tasty stir-fry made with sliced pork, and my headache was gone. My husband brought me flowers. I got my own talk show. Your own talk show?
Pork, the other white meat from America's pork producers.
I remind you that the defending Big Ten champion Nittany Lions soccer team will open the home season Tuesday night, September 6th. The Nittany Lions host Cleveland State, 7:15 Jeffrey Field. Here comes the kickoff, and we have Archie and Herring deep for Penn State. Mike Archie at the 10. He's at the 15. He's at the 20. He's at the 25 and down at the 30-yard line. Pretty good running room as a bunch of guys are stacked up there. and the official helps him up. They don't want any taunting or anything. Rashawn Early was on the coverage team for Minnesota's Gophers and makes the tackle.
That time they had Kim Herring back there,
right,
which is a good move. Why take a chance with Carter with a 28-3 lead? But Archie, they got a lot of weapons, Penn State, let's face it.
And a couple more tailbacks on this trip, Stephen Pitts and Ambrose Fletcher, who have not seen action. Mike Archie will get the nod on this series of downs.
Well, you can't let up. It's too early.
Absolutely
You got the first half yet. When
it's 28-3 with 7:04 remaining, as Jeff Tarman pointed out. They scored a lot of points, but that didn't take quite as much time off the clock as perhaps they would have liked. Those two big runs, of course, by Carter. Penn State in a split back set, throw over the middle, and once again Freddie Scott was interfered with. I mean, once again it was interference, and it was on Juan Hunter again.
Yeah. Well,
Scott was streaking across the middle, and if he hit him in stride, it's all gone.
It was a check off. He came in from his wide out spot. When the ball's in the air, you can't touch that guy, all right? I mean, these are not slight interference calls. These are flagrant.
Obvious. Even I can see them. Of course, I see them sometimes too. If it's the right team, I think it's interference.
Even their own teammates and the fans realize that's flagrant.
You know, I mentioned Jeff Tarman a moment ago, and I'm missing a buddy, Jim Tarman, who had attended 412 consecutive Penn State games. He's not here, and what a tenure he had at Penn State. And God bless you, Jim. We miss you. First time is September 20th, 1958 at Nebraska. Garvin was captain. Penn State now in a split back set. Kerry Collins gives to Mike Archie, bounces to the outside. He's at the 45. He's at the 50. Has a first down in Minnesota territory at the 47 before Juan Hunter can knock him out of bounds.
Fran, that time Bobby Ingram. How big is Bobby Ingram? 5'9", maybe 5'10" at the most.
5'10", 180.
Okay. He held his block for a full 2 seconds on the cornerback, enabling Archie to get up the field. I mean, when you get flankers that block for the running backs and even vice versa, you got a good football team.
Good block that time by Keith Conlon to spring it loose. You know, they talk about resembling the '82 team, and that's one of the areas of resemblance. The wide receivers are blockers. Penn State in a pro eye this time. Fake to the tailback. Long pass downfield for Scott. He's got it at the 10. It's down at the 4.
I tell you, they could have called interference again, but again, a perfect pass by Kerry Collins. What's happening? They're paying a little too much attention to Ingram. Scott's in the station to the sideline. They put him at the sideline, up the field, but I think they said he went out of bounds and came back in. Yeah.
If he went out of bounds and came back in, that's incomplete pass.
He can't do it. That's what I think they're discussing.
If he went out, he was bumped out.
Well, that's a good point, and then it would be legal, but
they're discussing it.
Yeah, the officials are getting there. Let's see what they do. They might be putting it back in his pocket. So
yes, sir.
So that's exactly
inadvertent flag.
Inadvertent flag.
Now, the one official must have seen him being out of bounds and called that.
Yeah,
then another official must have seen the fact that he was
pushed
forced out of
bounds. Yeah. That's when I said could have been called interference.
Absolutely.
That's when they bumped him out. But again, when you got that combination working off each other, one on one side, put the other guy into the sidelines, up the streaks, up the field, and Collins laid it out there.
Freddie Scott, 5 receptions, 94 yards. He's a junior from Southfield, Michigan. And John Whitman, Brian Milne, and Mike Archer in a power eye. Keith Olsemer and Kyle Brady, the tight ends, and it's a power set, and the give is to Milne. Milne tries to bounce it to the outside and carries people inside the 5 to about the 3. The play started on the 5, folks. I think I told you he had gotten to the 4. I stretched at a point.
Well, you get
Peter Heastand made the stop.
Yeah, you know, Brian Milne, and they list him at 225. If he's not 250, he's a big man. He's got good quickness. About Scott, I think we forgot to say his father was a pro.
A great player for the Lions.
Great player for the Lions.
Let's see what their set is this time with the score of Penn State 28, Minnesota 3, 5:52 remaining, and Penn State knocking at the door. It's the same set this time. Archie is the tailback behind 2 big fullbacks. And they roll out right with Kerry Collins throwing in the end zone. Is it complete? Keith Olsemer for the touchdown.
Well, they 2 tight ends that time, and
they covered Brady, but not Olsemer.
Not Olsemer. But usually, I just about to say, they usually don't show that formation until they're inside the 5. When they came out, that's a design play. They showed it from the 7. You made a couple yards. They were setting it up, and that's good. That's good coaching.
Well, there have been people speculating on the nature of this 1994 Penn State team, and everybody concluded that the offense was potent. I think that has been proven here this evening. Brett Conway, whose leg must be tired, puts it up and through. And it's 35-3 in favor of Penn State with 5:39 remaining. There's a break in the action. Now this word from your local station. This is the Penn State Sports Network.
Better quality makes Toyota a better value. Like Toyota Tercel. It's an economy car that comes with everything but sacrifice. You get a long list of standard features like power-assisted front disc brakes, a multi-valve fuel-injected engine, reclining front bucket seats, and more. Lower repair costs and Toyota's higher resale value means Tercel costs less to own. It's the right amount of car for the right amount of money. And right now, Toyota has special lease plans to make Tercel even more affordable. So see your Toyota dealer today.
Remember your first day of school? You thought you'd never get through it? But when you got home, Mom was waiting with delicious Nabisco cookies and crackers. Now, share those same special moments with your kids. Pick up your favorite Nabisco snacks during the grand opening at the new Imperial Shop and Save, just off routes 2230 at the Imperial exit. Get 20-ounce packages of Oreos, 2 for $5. Mr. Salty Pretzels are just 99 cents in the 9-ounce box and 10-ounce bag. Welcome your kids home with a hug and the great taste of Nabisco.
What a night for Kerry Collins. 12 for 15, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Brett Conway is ready to go. This time he kicks it high and deep. Rashawn Early is going into the end zone 1 yard deep and does not come out. A good kick by Brett Conway.
He's getting better, you know, than last year. They had a few problems. He was kicking them out of bounds, and he was brought in as one of the great, you know, kickers in the country. He's starting to show that now.
Well, we're delighted that Penn State Indy Line football is sponsored by Pennsylvania's Dairy Farmer. Pennsylvania Dairy Promotion Program, reminding you that milk, it does a body good.
You know, Fran, this is an awesome display of offensive football. I mean, you know, this is big-time football, and at the first game, they remind me of the time they opened up with Georgia Tech that time, you know, in the kickoff classic, or yeah, it was the kickoff classic. And
Shade, the quarterback, drops straight back to pass, throws complete to Garrison on a leaping catch at the 25-yard line for a 5-yard gain. Second down, 5 yards to go. Minnesota in its own territory at the 25, trailing 35-3 with 5:23 remaining.
Tough play selection when you got that kind of, you know, the defense has all the leverage now, and they're going to give him those short ones, and he'll take them, but the big thing is not to give him a big one or an easy touchdown.
Johnny Woodson now comes in at a wide receiver position. He's split to the right. There's a slot man or wingback on the right. The lone setback is Darkins. And Shades slides along the line, gives to Darkins. They had taken Doug Atkins out of the play, and they turned the corner before Terry Killens can wrap him up, but not until after he got in the first down out at the 34-yard line.
Well, Doug Atkins was just plumb out blocked.
Yes, he was.
One-on-one. That was his fault. He's got to shed that offensive blocker like that. Use your hands a little bit more and then slide to the outside.
We were kind of critical of Todd for his taunting or whatever he did, but he's a fine young player from Newcastle, really from Laurel High School up in Lawrence County. Here come 3 wide receivers to the right this time. In motion goes Darkins. Nobody back there. Shade, 5-step drop, throws over the middle. If he caught it, it's a great catch. He didn't catch it. The umpire right on the line, right on the spot. Chuck Rios was the intended receiver. He took it off the ground. Incomplete.
Well, Penn State's kind of a defense on the outside, so they're trying to hit something over the middle, hope they can break it. To go back to Atkins, he played very well in Ravati's place last year, and he's a good football player.
That Penn State defense has Jeff Perry, Chris Masick, Vin Stewart, and Atkins up front. Terry Killens is a corner. Looks like Aaron Collins is in there. They're a little tighter this time, are those Gophers, and they're going to slide and give to Darkins. Darkins turns upfield and gets yardage across the 35 out to about the 39-yard line before Willie Smith can knock him down.
Well, Penn State will give them that, you know, all for the rest of the game.
Yeah, they're running a little time off
here. What's impressed me so far also for the defense, the linebackers. And when they go to 5 backs, everybody knows exactly where they're supposed to be, how to line up. Who's ever calling the coverages and the alignment are doing a good job. So it proves that Penn State does have some depth in the linebackers and in the secondary.
There was an illegal procedure penalty called against the Minnesota Gophers. We did not see the flag. It was dropped down here in front of the Minnesota bench, and they're standing up, and there's a lot of them. But the play is nullified, of course. The penalty will take the ball back to the 29-yard line, where it'll be second down and 15. Brian King is in the secondary for Penn State, as is Clint Holes. That's King with the free safety and Holes the strong safety. And they have 5 defensive backs, with that 5th man being Mark Tate. Wing back right, 2 wide receivers right. Darkins takes the handoff. A little fake by Shade. Everybody took it, but not Terry Killens. And there was no place to go. Absolutely a confrontation on the left side. Killens led the charge.
Well, it's so hard, as I said before, to call plays. You know, you'd like to try to get a touchdown, yet you're in your own territory. You're down by such a large margin, and it's very difficult on Coach Wacker right now. But Penn State's defensive people, they're surprising everybody. They're surprising me. I didn't think they could play this well.
There are a lot of stunned people in the Metrodome, and some of them are standing on the bench down below, and some of the coaches are. And Penn State has just been awesome offensively. No backs. Straight back to pass. Shade throws. It's complete at the 39-yard line, out across the 40. Did he get the first down? No, he's short of the first down.
He's about 2 yards short on that. So they just everybody's given an extra 5 yards, including the linebackers. Let them catch it in front of him and come up and make the tackle. The tackling in the secondary has been excellent.
Darkins at back made the catch that time. His first time he's been out of the backfield. And with 4th down and 2 yards to go, they have the punter in the ball game. And Bobby Ingram. Hubbard is the punter. Hubbard's a wide receiver. Ryan Hubbard. He's a redshirt freshman from Jensen Beach, Florida. High punt. Ingram at the 20, the 25, the 30. Spins to the 35. Still on his feet to the 39-yard line. A little pushing and shoving going on. And that time, I think the official used good judgment.
Yes, he did. But again, it's easy to tell a kid, look, walk away from it.
Yep.
But when the guy's, you're bumping chest to chest, and, it's a macho type of thing, and, you forget what you're supposed to do.
Anthony Aitken was the defensive play for Minnesota that time. Penn State has 2:44 remaining with a 35-3 lead. That's 2:44 remaining in the first half. And a first down.
Well, I mean, even if it looks like he's going to run it up, let's try to put the ball game definitely out of hand. Put Minnesota out of it. But I'd go for some more points, and they are.
Fake to Ki-Jana Carter. Throw over the middle, complete to Phil Collins at the 47-yard line in Minnesota territory. And before he's knocked down, we'll find him by Early. Rashawn Early.
Fran, this is not running it up. What he's trying to do is wait one more score. Even if it's 3, then you can do some things in the second half. But football is a tough game. We were losing a game one time at Brown, 42 to something going 35 to something going in the fourth quarter. Pulled it out 42-35.
See, at halftime we'll have Penn State stats with Frank Gardenia and a special interview, and Jeff Edwards with the scoreboard update. Stick around. Penn State in an I formation. Chris Campbell in motion left to right. Deep handoff to Carter. Carter comes to the corner. He's inside the 45 to the 42-yard line before he's knocked down by Terrence Blaine. Ki-Jana Carter.
So that time he showed how strong he was. Right, he came,
upper body
nothing inside, went to another gear, got enough speed to get outside, then runs over a linebacker.
Carter's closing in on 200 yards. He has 191. Straight back to pass is Collins. Looks, throws, complete to the fullback. John Whitman across the 40, and he's down at the 36-yard line for a Penn State first down. Whitman just kind of...
Well, he just sneaked out of the
backfield.
Yeah, and Collins throwing off his back foot. He's so strong, he's still got the ball out there. Again, I say the only word I can think of right now is awesome.
Penn State going without a huddle. This is their 2-minute drill. It's a pass because the 2-point stance. There's a middle screen to Brady. Not really a screen. It looked like it because the men's were rushing, but Brady makes the catch at the 30.
Well, when he turns his back, and
you can't get at him.
You can't get at him. He's so big.
Justin Konzimius, the strong safety, makes the stop. And we have a penalty flag.
I can't understand.
Kyle Brady broke across the line. I don't know which way he was coming. I thought he was coming back to the line of scrimmage. He must have broken out across and come back.
Because of an illegal procedure.
Right.
Well, you see, a tight end can make a move.
But he was clear into the second.
Yeah, all right, he went into the second. I didn't see that footprint.
15 for 18 for Kerry Collins. 6 different receivers. Penalty marks the ball back to the 35. It'll be 2nd and 9. Penn State in Minnesota territory. 1:25 remaining in the first half. Penn State 35. Minnesota 3, pro I. Bobby Ingram, split end right. Freddie Scott, flanker left. Pitch reverse to Freddie Scott. Trying to turn the corner. He breaks one tackle, still trying to get outside. He's at the 35 and forced out of bounds at the 31. It never quite developed.
Well, they had good backside contain on that, but he made a nice move to get up inside of the outside contain man and get out of bounds and kill the clock, because Joe has been yelling at him, you know, hurry up, hurry up. We want a shot at least a field goal.
Kevin Holmes made the stop for Minnesota, but that play never really did develop. There was a man that broke through and got a leg of Freddie, but he jerked it loose. And he got a little bit of a block as they got to the corner from Kerry Collins, but by that time, the pursuit had caught.
Sure, he has some pretty good speed also.
I'll say. Pro I, John Whitman, the fullback, Ki-Jana Carter, the tailback, Scott, the flanker, Ingram, the wide receiver. There's a pass downfield for Scott. Scott's at the 10, out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Justin Conzemius makes the stop. And Kerry Collins is pitching this is the equivalent of a no-hitter.
This is what they wanted him to improve on. He had a strong arm, touch.
That was a touch pass.
That was a touch pass right in front of the safety behind the corner man. He's thrown long, he's thrown short, he's thrown hard. He's done everything. I tell you, it's an awesome display of quarterbacking and of offensive football.
Ball is spotted at the 11-yard line. We're down with a minute and a second to play in the first half. Penn State 35-3 and looking for more. Both wide receivers to the left this time, and Brian Milne is in at the fullback slot. And they give to Carter. Carter is stopped in the backfield, and we have a flag. We may have a hold on Kyle Brady.
Yeah. Now that was see, Kyle was playing pretty good tonight. He might be getting a little tired because that time the play was going away from him, and he held
Jerome Davis.
Yeah. And so really, he wasn't. His block was not really at the point of attack. And I figured they'd run a draw play on that, but that was that play where Carter starts up the middle and tries to break to the outside. But it was well defense. He wasn't going to get outside anyhow. You know what's happening with Kyle? He might like catching the ball so much that he's not going to block no more. Throw me the ball.
Well, there's a fine line nowadays, George, between a block and a hold.
Yeah. Well, sometimes when he gets into their face, he buries them. But I think he's getting a little tired. Just my observation up here. You know, it's a little warm.
Okay, we'll have more action on the way after this word on the Penn State Sports Network.
You know, Cadillac has had an outstanding series of successful product introductions and international award recognition in the last couple of years, more so than any other car line. So it makes sense to me that right now, during your Cadillac Super Network dealer's 1994 model year closeout, is the perfect time to buy or lease a new Cadillac. While these dealers are offering closeout prices, special leasing terms, and special trade-in allowances. So see your Cadillac dealer now. Tell them Dick Vermeil sent you.
Every little once in a while, we take a stand, 'cause we don't mind getting down. So we let the facts present themselves through you and me, and we plant a seed into the ground. Oh, without a life's uncertainty, one thing remains so clear. Budweiser, it's the king of beers, that clear spring classic. Oh, Mama, we do.
Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
With 55 seconds remaining in the first half, let's pause for station identification. This is the Penn State Sports Network, a division of Paxson Sports.
KDKA, Pittsburgh.
OI, fake to the fullback, fake to the tailback. Collins smashed from the blind side. Good penetration by Craig Sauer, who blitzed in from the linebacker spot. Spots the ball back at the 34. That's the first time they've been sacked today, they being the Nittany Lions, he being Kerry Collins. They go without a huddle. Same play. Roll out right by Collins. Throwing, complete to Scott. Puts a pivot, can't get to the sideline, and is knocked down at the 18-yard line by Juan Hunter. And the ball is loose. The ball is loose, and Minnesota's Hunter came up with it.
Well, they're arguing on that. He had the receiver by the neck, was wrestling him down. The ball popped out, but actually his forward motion was stopped. Brady went over to the challenge of official. I'm glad he got out of there. But That's, you know, they're starting to make a few mistakes now.
Taylor's the guy that picked the ball up. It was Hunter, or Jordan rather. It was Hunter that shook the ball loose. And it was, you know, there was a lot of wrestling going on there. I thought that play was dead.
Yeah, it looked like a dead play, but the officials are going to give Minnesota a little benefit of the calls, you know, from here on in.
Yeah. Okay. Minnesota thwarts that Penn State offensive thrust. With 26 seconds, they have the ball. They're trailing 35-3. We're playing in the first half here in the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota. In motion comes Chuck Rehos from the left to the right, and a man moved too soon, and the flag is thrown, and it's a semi-screen to Darkins. Darkins is breaking across the 20, the 25, and out to the 29-yard line before he's knocked down, but the play will be nullified. Willie Smith, I think, is the guy who caught up with him.
That was a little swing screen, for, you know, a quick screen, speed screen, whatever you want to call it. It's a good call under circumstances, but Minnesota just can't seem to do anything right tonight.
Well, I used to call that backfield in motion, and that's what it was. It was the slot man who took a step toward the line of scrimmage, and they call that illegal motion now.
That's illegal motion. You can't do that, but they had a pretty good play. The idea was good.
Penalized 5 yards. Other Minnesota Gophers back to the 12-yard line, where it'll be first down and 15 yards to go. Minnesota keeps shuttling wide receivers back and forth. They move the slot man to the split end to the flanker all over the place. So it's a complicated pass structure here. And they have trips right this time with Chris Darkins the lone setback. Trips meaning 3 wide receivers to the right. There's a handoff straight ahead to Darkins. Darkins into the middle of the line before Ben Stewart muscles his way in. They run the clock out. That's the end of the first half with the score Penn State 35, Minnesota 3. Back after this on the Penn State Sports Network.
When some families buy insurance policies, they put them in a drawer and figure that's that. But State Farm agents know that as time goes by, things change.
The first play of the ball game was a downed pass because the screen did not materialize. All right, Penn State, of course, got the option the first half. Minnesota said, we're going to take the ball here to start the second half. So Rashawn Early and Rodney Heath go back to await the kick of Brett Conway. And Brett Conway's teammates on that kickoff coverage team, Kim Herring, Aaron Collins, Ahmad Collins, Brad Sholey, Marlon Forbes, and we got to stop there because the kick is underway. It's a high, short kick at the 11-yard line. It's Heath. Heath comes to the left side. He's at the 15. He's at the 20. He's at the 31-yard line before he's knocked down by Kim Herring and number 6, Aaron Collins. Pretty good field position for Minnesota, as that was a high pop-up. It was almost the infield fly rule on that baby. First and 10 at the 32-yard line, and Timmy Shade gets the call at quarterback. He was the man who finished up and had the most productive first half, something like 57 of those 61 or 62 yards or whatever it was. They're out over the ball right away. Shade has the tight end in motion from right to left. There's 2 setbacks. There's a slide give to Darkins. Darkins breaks across the 30 up to the 34-yard line before Terry Killens can grab him. And Doug Atkins came within an eyelash, chopping him in the backfield.
He made penetration, and Killens showed us his speed there. He just slid him on because Darkins got good speed. I think what Coach Wack is going to do, he's going to say, look, I don't know if we're going to win this game or not, but we're going to come out here and look like a football team. Let's try that. We're going to run the ball a little bit. That was a running formation.
It'll be second down and 7 yards to go. The ball at the 35-yard line. Minnesota in its own territory, just underway in the second half. Penn State leading by a score of 35-3. The 3 wide receivers are right this time. The lone setback, Darkins, goes in motion from right to left. Tim Shade, the quarterback, bobs his head, takes the drop. He's got a blitz. He's nailed by Killens and Smith. The cornerbacker, right side, middle linebacker, never had a chance at Mr. Shade, and he's bowled over at the 27-yard line.
Now, that's a beautiful change of pace by Jerry Sandusky, the defensive coordinator. First blitz by Penn State of the whole game. They've been only rushing 3 people, at the most 4. Killens comes from the outside, and Smith comes right up the gut. Both of them came in clean. Shade didn't even get his arm back.
9-yard loss in the play. 3rd and 16 at the 26 for the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and Penn State goes with a nickel package. Kim Herring becomes the 5th defensive back, and they have no setbacks. In motion is Darkins from the running back position. There's a little look screen over the middle. The breaking loose is...
That was Woodson, I
Johnny
believe.
Woodson, you got it right.
You know, Fran, that's that flanker screen that they come back into the formation. Lou Holtz, really, I guess, and Bobby Bowden are the innovators of that. And they're looking for a big play, but
they didn't get it big enough. It'll be 4th down and 7 at the 36-yard line. Hubbard into punt. Bobby Ingram back in a lone safety position. Guy is a man coming, Herring, but he gets the kick away. Big high kick. Bobby Ingram, fair catch, 25-yard line, makes it.
And so sure-handedly, you know, the Jets draft and New York Jets pro team, Glenn, you know, the leading punt returner in the country, and he's flubbed the first 4 punts in his pro
Isn't
year.
that amazing?
And amazing. And guys like Ingram with great receivers, and well, O.J. McDuffie used to be able to do it too. They're so sure-handed. Boy, is that a plus to have a guy like that fielding punt.
Penn State sets up 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line. We have up front, we have Andre Johnson, Marco Rivera, Bucky Greeley, Jeff Hardings, Keith Conlon. The tight end is Kyle Brady. The split end is Ingram. The flanker is Scott. Kerry Collins is the quarterback. Whitman and Ki-Jana Carter in the backfield. Carter has a hole at the 25, the 30, the 35, 37-yard line. Off to the right side on the short side. And Heastant made the tackle for Minnesota.
Almost broke that one. That time, Penn State can't seem to do anything wrong on offense. Great offensive linebacker. They plugged. In other words, they shot the gaps, the Minnesota defensive linemen. Penn State blocked down on them one by one. Carter got to the corner. One man to beat. Would he gone again?
11-yard gain. It's 1st and 10 at the 37 for Penn State. That must be about 193 yards now for Ki-Jana Carter. He's going to go over 200. 2 wide receivers to the left for Penn State. John Whitman's the fullback. Ki-Jana Carter is the tailback. The tight end is right in Kyle Brady. Kerry Collins. Hand off to Collins Carter right straight up the middle. Gets to the 40, and that's about it. That was a straight ahead power run by Ki-Jana Carter.
You know, Joe will keep mixing it up at least to the end of the 3rd quarter. It's too early in the game, but he also would like to take some time off the clock and you know, and by continuing to run the ball. I see Campbell's in the game in place of Scott.
4-yard gain for Ki-Jana Carter as Wolko made the stop.
Excuse me, friend.
That's all right. Freddie Scott comes out along with Bobby Ingram, both flanked to the left side. Offset in the backfield with John Whitman, the near back, fullback, and Ki-Jana Carter, the tailback. Play action fake to Carter. Throws, complete to Ingram at the 50. He's at the 40. He's downfield to the 30 and out of bounds at the 25. What a move he put on the defender.
And what a throw. That's that curl. He gets behind the cornerback who comes up, got to bump up and run with him a little bit, and then he curls it in. Ball's right there, and if you miss the tackle, he's gone.
He got a block from Freddie Scott downfield, and one Hunter lost a piece of equipment on that fake, I'll tell you.
Yeah, but
you can make your own choice.
Kerry Collins is putting everything right between the numbers. We'll play action here up the middle. Bango.
1st and 10, Penn State at the Minnesota 25-yard line. Chris Camel is the flanker right. He's really in the slot. And there's a pitch to Carter. Carter has a block on the right side. Gets to the corner. He's at the 25 and almost broke it. And gets inside the 20 before Kanzemias can knock him down inside the 20 at the 18-yard line.
Beautiful strategy, Fran. See, they put that slot down to the right side there. If you don't drop your linebackers or give them a little help out there, they'll throw it. If you drop them off, they run that sweep. They hook everybody on a corner. The man that has contained, he got hooked. And here comes Carter, the express.
2nd and 4 at the 18 for Penn State as Carter's now at 202 yards. Phil Collins back into the ball game as a split end to the left. Freddie Scott, the flanker, goes in motion from right to left. There's a give to Carter. Carter cuts upfield, goes right straight ahead and gets to the 15-yard line. Power with Bucky Greeley leading the charge up the middle. Cockrell makes the stop finally.
He looked a little bit like Emmett Smith on that. And by the way, he's built a little bit like him. He just sidestepped one. He saw there was no hole there. Just slid to the right, turned it upfield, made a nice game.
3rd down and 1 for Penn State at the 15-yard line, and Carter's up to 205 now. Kurt Warner has a single game record, 256 against Syracuse back in 1981. Wide receivers left. Pitch to Carter. Carter's got the hole. It's at 20, inside the 15, and down to the 12-yard line for a Penn State 1st down.
The offensive line is just awesome. Again, a tremendous. Minnesota's trying to get penetration. They're picking off the guy that's penetrating to the inside. The fullback's kicking out the corner, man. Here comes Carter, and he just cuts up inside.
We're going to go with 2 tight ends now. It's Keith Olsemerkin's in the ball game, and Phil Collins goes out.
Fran, if Penn State scores here, I think in the next offensive series, you'll see Wally Richardson coming.
1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Penn State in Minnesota territory. We have 2 tight ends, Olsemer and Carter hit in the backfield, sheds the tackle, and gets back to the line of scrimmage. It's another one of those plays where a 4-yard loss was turned into a no-gainer, but one of the better runs by Carter. Kanzemius and Akbar make the stop.
I mean, he got hit deep in the backfield.
Akbar was the one who got him in the backfield.
Bounced off the tackle and took it up and made a few yards off it. That time they made penetration. That's one of the few times that the offensive line didn't pick off that inside penetration.
35-3 is the score. Penn State leading with 9:15 remaining in the 3rd quarter, and Stephen Pitts is in the lineup for the first time tonight at that tailback position. He joins John Whitman in the backfield.
Watch for a little bootleg here.
Straight back to pass goes Collins. Looking for Chris Campbell, incomplete. Broken up by Juan Hunter. And one of the first times tonight that he broke up the pass without interfering.
And you know,
that was close.
First time I would say, Kerry, you shouldn't have got too much touch on that. He was open immediately, drilled it in there.
Yep.
He allowed the cornerback to come up and knock the ball down.
He's in a slump. Isn't that awful? Penn State with his 3rd down now at the 10-yard line. 3rd down and a little better than 9. They started on the 11. And they are back into the 2 wide receiver set with the backs split. Fake to Whitman. Throw over the middle. Caught by Ingram. Touchdown. What a grab.
My God.
What a grab. How did he catch the ball?
I don't know how he caught that ball because there was a defender on his outside, and a defender on his inside. It was a great throw, and there was only clearance for a fraction of a second. The ball got through, and he grabbed it out of the hands of the 2 defenders.
Amazing throw and an amazing catch, and the noise of the Metrodome has not been a factor here, folks.
You know, to pick up like from where they left off in the first half, you figure they're going to have a little bit of a downer, but here they go.
Bucky Greeley sends it back to Phil Collins, and Brett Conway sends it through the uprights. And Penn State now has jumped to a 42-3 lead with 8:54 remaining in the 3rd quarter. It'll be interesting. Okay, there's a break in the action with the score of Penn State 42, Minnesota 3. Now this word from your local station. This is the Penn State Sports Network.
It's summer, and you know what that means. California summer peaches and nectarines. When you want to bite of something fresh and light, do the right thing. The California summer fruit steak.
There's still time to enjoy fresh California peaches and nectarines, so visit your grocer and do the right thing.
It happens once a year, so get them while they're here and do the right thing.
Brought to you by the growers of California summer fruits.
You know, Labor Day weekend is a great time for redecorating. And for the best finish, the best place to start is Sears Labor Day sale.
The carpet choices are unbelievable.
Yeah, Sears matched our paint to our new carpeting perfectly. Hi, I'm Bob Vila. Through Monday, save 15 to 50% on every gallon of paint at Sears. Easy Living, Weather Beater, Dutch Boy, Olympic Stain. And save $1 to $14 a square yard on all carpet. All paint, all carpet on sale through Monday.
We gave our house a fabulous new look.
Sears, bringing America's best to your home.
You know, Fran, Freddie Scott had 7 receptions in the first half, and now Ingram is catching up to his buddy. He's got 5 receptions, 74 yards, and Collins is 19 for 23 for 259 yards. And the beauty of it is, Penn State, with all his passing yardage, they don't have spread out formations. They're doing it for basically running formation, pro eye, a little split backfield, and a lot of play action.
All right. Brett Conway, whose right leg will lose weight before this evening's over, sends a big high kick deep into the end zone, and it's down there by Rashawn Early. That's a good kick. That was a high kick, and Penn State defensive unit comes on the field looking at a 42-3 lead in favor of their offensive teammates. Well, in favor of the whole team. That's not accurate. First 10 at the 20-yard line for Minnesota. And Penn State starts immediately with the nickel package.
Yeah, and Gelsheiser is on the side. I'm watching him over there. You know, he's watching his teammates really perform well.
All right, let's watch the setup for Minnesota. They have a lone setback, 2 wide receivers left, 1 right. Shade is the quarterback. Slide give to Darkins. Spins to the outside. Chasing him is Perry, and he forces him out of bounds after a 5-yard gain, 6-yard gain. Cliff Dingle comes up from the free safety position to help out Perry. And it's a 6-yard gain for Early. 2nd and 4 at the 26. For Darkins, I should say, not Early.
Well, that was Killens. Was that Perry or Killens?
It might have been. No, Terry Killens.
I'm telling you who they ran at that time. Couldn't shed. It was Perry. He couldn't shed the block. He just got to get a little a better use of his hands. Got to get him out, stretch a little fun.
Darkins 16 rushes for 86 yards. They're a little tight this time. With only 1 wide receiver, they have a wing back left and a tight end, and he goes in motion, and they're running to that strong side, and Darkins muscles his way before Terry Killens can grab him at the 27, 28-yard line. Killens is having himself a night.
You know, we've been waiting for him to really, you know, step up and be the player that everybody thought he would be. He's a great athlete. Just he has to play, you know, a lot and get a little bit more consistent. And Penn State's going to have another great linebacker. But it's their 3rd and 1.
Chris Mazik comes back in, and the nickel package is not in effect in this particular 3rd down and a long 1. A little tighter formation this time. It's a version of a power eye, the tight end in motion. They go strong side again to Darkins, and he bounces for the 1st down to the 31-yard line. Perry got penetration again, couldn't quite make the stop, but Willie Smith does. And it's 1st and 10, Minnesota. The ball at the Minnesota 31-yard line.
And actually, in a game like this, both coaches are happy they're running the ball a little bit. Believe me.
8:02.
Take time out off the clock.
Sure. 3rd quarter action. Penn State leading 42-3. Has scored once already. No setbacks this time. So Mr. Shade is looking at 2 wide receivers each way and a flexed tight end to the right. Chuck Rehos goes in motion from the right slot, and Shade is straight back to pass, looking at a 3-man rush. They got the hand in the face. Good job by Jeff Perry. He has been getting penetration, and that time Shade had to throw the ball through him, and he got a partial deflection, incomplete pass.
You know, technically, though, speaking, when you only rush 3 people, you shouldn't be able to get that kind. That was a bull rush. He just took the tackle and pushed him right back in the quarterback's face, because you got your whole offensive line in there. There's no blitzing. There's just 3 guys, you know, and the whole offensive line against 3 people, you should be able to handle it.
2nd down and 10. Minnesota at its 31-yard line. No back set this time. 3 wides right, 2 wides left. Shade looking over the defense, and I think we had a premature motion on the left side by the Minnesota Golden Gophers. It was the big tackle, David Bertine, who moved prematurely, and Minnesota a bit frustrated.
Well, and that's going to happen. You got to expect it. And when you do that, you lose your concentration, you lose your focus, and you know you make these kind of penalties. You become sloppy is the correct word.
Penn State, Brian Miller and Tony Pittman in the secondary, along with Cliff Dingle, the free safety, and Clint Holes, the hero or strong safety. And once again, it's a 5 wide receivers with no running back in the backfield, and a 2-point stance for Minnesota's front line, so you know they're going to pass block. Here's Shade being sacked back at the 18-yard line. Again, a 3-man rush, and it was Todd Atkins this time. Actually, Atkins, Stewart, and Perry all made penetration.
And Chris Mazik was in there, too. Let's not leave him out. In fact, he might have been the key guy. But, you know, you mentioned something early in the 1st half, which I never got a chance to comment to, that they interchange their receivers. They come in with like 3, 4 receivers at different positions. Penn State doesn't care. They're aligning defensively. I got the first, the outside one. You got the slot. I got the 3rd one.
Regardless of who it is.
They don't care how they interchange, and it's working very well.
Okay, we have the nickel package now because we have 3rd down and 21. Minnesota at its 20-yard line. And it looks to me like we have Scott Eckers back in the ballgame at quarterback. We do. I don't know whether Shade was injured or not. He had the wind knocked out of him. That's a good pantomime you gave me there, Frank.
He's got a lot to pantomime.
All right, here's a give to a new running back in there.
I think that's Harmon. I think he's a freshman.
Jackson.
Jackson? Was that number 21?
I think it was.
And it's Jackson.
And he gets across the 30-yard line, but of course not enough for a first down as Terry Killens was the man on the spot. This kid Jackson, Javon Jackson, is from Newport News, Virginia, a heralded freshman, but they flexed the defense. They just didn't want him to get a first down.
All right, let's see if Wally Richardson comes in on this next series.
Kimball is in to punt. Mike Archie is the lone safety. High wobbly punt comes to the right side, takes a Penn State bounce, and finally the guy decides to put it down. That's Chris Smith, Shorty Smith. Downs the ball at the 39-yard line. All right, let's take a timeout with Penn State leading 42-3. This is the Penn State Sports Network.
It's got a new cover, it's got a new name, but on the inside it's exactly the same. It's the real fine, genuine, more choices, gold mine, yellow pages from Belly Lente.
It's the same book with a new name. The genuine Bella Pennsylvania Yellow Pages is now the genuine Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages.
You know it's the book 9 out of 10 use. When more people look, there's more to choose.
It's genuine. It has more choices. It's the book where 9 out of 10 people turn. So it's the place to place your big color ad.
It's the real fine, genuine, more choices, gold mine, yellow pages from Belly Lente.
9 out of 10 use it.
Same kind of one.
The genuine Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages.
Real fine, genuine, more choices, gold mine, yellow pages from Belly Lente. It's real fine. Real fine.
Wally Richardson gets the nod as the quarterback in this series of downs for Penn State. I say big Wayne Holmes, the 330-pounder from Silver Spring, Maryland, in there at an offensive tackle. Marco Rivera is still at guard in one position. I see Keith Olsom in there at a tight end position. Brian Milne is the tailback. Phil Collins is one of the wide receivers. Bucky Greeley is still the center. Mike Archie is the tailback. And it looks like Dale Harvey is in there, replacing Keith Conlon. So we try to give you as many as possible there. Chris Campbell and Phil Collins are the wide receivers. Archie and Milne in the backfield. Wally Richardson with his first handle gives to Archie. Archie bangs across the 40 to the 42 or 43-yard line for about a 4-yard gain before Lasante makes the stop for Minnesota.
And Joe really wanted to get Wally Richardson in there, and this is a great opportunity for the kid. He's got a lot of talent. All he needs to do is play a lot more. And don't be surprised if he doesn't let him throw the ball a little bit, because he's got to get used to game situations.
Eric Gallman is in as a wide receiver for Penn State. This 5'6" junior is a ball of fire. I formation in the backfield. Richardson back to pass. Looking, throws it away. Gallman was streaking down the right side, was covered, as was tight end Keith Olsomer coming across the middle. Craig Sauer was the coverage man.
Yeah, Sauer came in on a blitz with Sauer there. Then he got right in Richardson's face. He put the pressure on him. And that wasn't a good play by Wally, because if you're going to throw it away, throw it down.
Zing it.
Yeah, zing it into the ground.
Freddie Scott, Chris Campbell, now the wide receivers.
Boy, that Minneapolis defense must be tired.
No, it's Joe Juravicius is in at wide receiver. Thanks, Jeff. I formation in the backfield. Off the play action, back to passes Richardson, throws a curl to Juravicius at the sideline, and he has a first down at the Minnesota 47-yard line.
Ran another fine-looking receiver. The reason why he isn't playing more, because didn't play more tonight, is because of his punting, and you don't like to have your punter have a kid to come out and punt after he's been running pass patterns. But again, beautiful pattern, good hands, and the ball was there.
Redshirt freshman, 6'5", 220 from Chardon, Ohio. Played at Mentor Lake High School. Phil Collins is now in a wide receiver, as is Chris Campbell. They both go to the right. Wally Richardson has Brian Milne and Mike Archie behind him in an eye. Tight left end is Keith Olsomer. Richardson deep handoff to Archie. Archie going to the right, puts a move, tries to cut upfield. Pretty good defensive play that time by Craig Sauer, the linebacker. Did not take the shoulder move to the outside, stayed at home, and knocked him down at the 49-yard line in Minnesota territory.
And I'm sure you'll see Penn State just run a couple of plays. You're not going to see anything fancy or anything like that. They're just stick to the basics and hope that some of these kids are getting a chance to play can improve their fundamentals.
4:53 left in the third quarter. Penn State 42, Minnesota 3, as Stephen Pitts now comes in at the tailback position. Campbell and Phil Collins, the wide receivers. Give fake to Pitts, give up the middle to Bruce Brian Milne. A great fake by Richardson. Milne rambles across the 40, inside the 35, inside the 30, 25 to the 22. Before Rashawn Early saves what might have been a big touchdown run for the rambling fullback. I did not see the ball go to the fullback.
Well, no, you know, Fran, that's the first time the fullback has gotten the ball to run with in quite a while now. He had a tremendous hole. How'd you like to be a linebacker or a safety with a guy about 255 coming at you with that speed?
They're at the 23-yard line with a first down. Richardson, a delayed give to Stephen Pitts, and Pitts is nailed. What a great tackle by the defender, Dan Lasante. And Pitts lowered his head, and Lasante met him at the pass. Trevor Walker also in on the stop from Minnesota. The ball spotted at the 23-yard line. Actually lost about a yard. So it'll be second down and 11, let's call it, as Stephen Pitts is relieved.
Pretty soon you're going to see Jason Sloan in there, I think, at fullback also.
5 carries tonight by the Penn State fullbacks. It's been a tailback-oriented offense. There's the fake to Ingram, or rather to Archie. The pass is incomplete, just underthrown. I think Olsemer had a step. Justin Conzemius almost made an interception. The ball was just slightly underthrown, I think.
Yeah,
George.
but bad technique by Wally. You see how he pulled that off like that? He didn't step towards the target, didn't follow through. That's why they're letting him throw a little bit. They're not trying to run it up. He has to get game experience.
Absolutely.
At more than just handing the ball off.
We have Stephen Pitts now back in at tailback with Penn State at 3rd and 11 at the 23-yard line in Minnesota territory, with Penn State leading 42-3, 3:40 left in the third quarter. Wally Richardson, play action fake, looks, throws, it's complete to Chris Campbell at the 20, but his knee was down at the 19. He broke clear just for a moment, but collaring him was Conzemius, so he's caught up short at the 19-yard line, and Penn State has a 4th down and 6.
Well, they want to try their field goal.
Sure.
But see, Richardson's rushing it a little bit. You see that he's pulling up a little too quick, and that's why he has to get game experience. You never know when your top man's going to go down.
This will be a 37-yard field goal attempt from the near hash mark by Brett Conway, with Phil Collins in to put the ball on the AstroTurf. The snap, the set, the kick. It's a boomer, and it's no good. It's sure big enough. It just was wide. He hit it awfully big.
Yeah, he boomed that one. That was a 50-some-yard field goal, probably would have been, but I guess it went wide right.
42-3, Penn State leads with 2:50. Let's take a 10-second break for station identification. Here's another great radio station on the Penn State Sports Network, a division of Paxson Sports.
KDKA Pittsburgh.
First and 10 for the Minnesota Golden Gophers at their own 20-yard line, trailing in the ball game 42-3. And the quarterback is Eckers. We understand that Shade. We have a different quarterback in there.
They have another kid named Sauter. Is it number 17?
Corey Sauter, right.
Yeah.
The freshman, or sophomore, redshirt freshman from Hutchinson, Minnesota. A young man they're very, very high on. Let's check the Penn State defense. It looks like the first unit in there. I see Jeff Perry. I see Willie Smith.
Well, you know, Fran, when they can't take as many players anymore, right. You have to play the kids you brought on the trip with you, you know. So you really don't have any choice.
Phil Yeboah-Kodie is in at the right linebacker position outside.
That's a starting defense. Outside of a couple of kids here or there.
They have Kim Herring in there, so they're going with the nickel, and they may be short a man. With all those white helmets, and I can't count them.
You can't with the glare of the light.
I thought Willie Smith was signaling something. It was not that they were short.
I hope one of those Penn State kids can count to 11.
Marlon Forbes is in at the defensive corner. Hamburgers, steaks, and kebabs are an important ingredient to any football tailgating experience. To help you plan your perfect tailgating menu, the Pennsylvania Beef Council has developed a tailgate recipe booklet To receive a free copy, dial 1-800-718-BEEF. 1-800-718-BEEF. 3 wide receivers way out to the left, but now the motion man, Rijos, comes this way. Sauter back to pass, throws downfield, and it's incomplete. Just about caught, but hit the ground first before Garrison could pull it in.
Well, you know, they had trips, and they took Diaz and put him back into motion to formation. He blocked on the corner, and they rolled out. I think that's the first time they showed that play.
Corey Sauter is another big quarterback. He's 6'5", 215. As I said, he's a redshirt freshman, and Jim Wacker's been very high on this young man's future because both of the others are fifth-year seniors. They'll be gone. Again, 3 wide receivers left. The lone setback. There's a throw over the middle, and it's complete at the hash mark to Aaron Osterman.
Just a nice safe pass, and he split the 2 defenders and sort of put it right in there.
Javon Jackson is the man who's been the setback, with Chris Darkins having done yeoman's work up until now, and it looks like Wacker wants to look at some of these young people because Jackson is a true freshman.
Well, Coach Wacker's being a realist. I mean, for them to pull this out would be an unbelievable miracle. So he's got a whole schedule ahead of him. He has to play some of these kids.
No setbacks, 5 wide receivers. Straight back to pass goes Sauter. Sauter has the pass dumped, and he's dumped himself by Ben Stewart, who got good penetration. Here's a guy, Vinny Stewart. He played in the Citrus Bowl last year at 305. He's a svelte 275 now.
And Joe's very pleased with him. He's come to fore as a leader, and that time he just buried the center. He took Jesuits and just pushed him right back into the quarterback's face. Encouraging thing, because Penn State has to establish defensive people on that line of scrimmage, interior defensive down linemen.
Mike Archie back in a single safety to receive the punt from Minnesota. High wobbly spiral. Archie is racing to catch it at the 40. He makes the catch at the 45, the 50. He's in Minnesota territory at the 42. And I'll tell you, there was a man within 2 feet of him. He caught that ball, and he beat him.
Well, I would tell him when I get off, don't take that kind of a chance. That, you know, he got away with it. I think Osterman was down there right on him.
He got a buster block too at Kerry Killens at the corner.
Yeah, but that's a reckless gamble. You know, you got to be, if it's a line drive punt, but that had a little hang time on it. They missed the tackle on it.
Osterman was the man, as you called. Yeah. It was a good crackback block by Killens. Boy, he dumped that guy right on his derriere.
Well, when you see your teammates going to the ball, making blocks for you, you know you got a good squad.
Penn State now with a new set of downs has Milne and Pitts in the backfield behind Wally Richardson. There's a fake to the tailback. Pitts throw out to the right flat, complete to the fullback Milne, and Milne trips his way down the right sideline, gets inside the 40 to the 38-yard line before he's knocked out of bounds by Blaine.
Well, that time, Fran, what they did, they faked to Milne, and then they throw it to him. A nice safe pass. Richardson's got to get some completions so he can relax. He looks like he's a little tight out there.
2nd and 5 at the 38. Penn State in Minnesota territory, leading in the ballgame 42-3 with 1:39 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Backs are in an eye. Here comes Olsemer shifting from right tight end to left tight end. The backs are split. There's a fake to Pitts, a give to the fullback, and a quick pop to Brian Milne, and he muscles his way to the 35-yard line before Cockrell can bring him down for Minnesota.
Sure, the fullback just steps right up there, he reads the center's block, and the tailback is flaring out, and I think they're very conscious about their backs for sure, because the Ki-Jana Carter and Milne's running right up the middle.
3rd and 2 at the 35-yard line, and Penn State's passing game has been diversified, to say the least. They've hit 9 different receivers tonight. Two tight ends in here this time with Chris Campbell to give to Milne. Milne cannot get the first down yardage.
Well, they might give it to him on the 4.
Think he might?
You know, they say.
By golly, you're right, George.
Yeah,
they're going to measure it, but I think you're right. I think he got it, and he got it by himself.
Yeah, he's a big man. He's about 6'5". He's stretched out.
Cockrell knocked his feet out from under him, and he flew forward and got the first down. First down, Penn State at the 33.5-yard line in Minnesota territory.
But it was not really a good run for Bryant. See, they want him to run the ball because he could be a force in himself. He's got to get his head up. He had his head down because actually, and he stumbled. He could have gotten a few more yards out of that play.
Well, he only carried the ball 19 times last year. So we have fullbacks that have not had the actual game experience.
Right, and they need a lot of work.
Juravicius, it becomes the split end left. There's a pitch to Stephen Pitts. He's got a hole, bursts through into the secondary and gets near the 25-yard line before he's knocked down by Early. Rashawn Early
and Fred
had to come up and make the stop.
A great block by Marzik. We have a Mazik and we have a Marzik, number 71. He pulled on that, kicked out the corner, and enabled the back to make that cut.
He's in there at one guard, Pete Marzik from Abiscon, New Jersey, and Bill Anderson from Indiana, Pennsylvania is at the other guard. So we have a new unit in there. And it looks like Penn State has called a timeout. Or no, the officials have called a timeout, and I'll tell you why. The quarter's going to end.
I was going to say.
That's a good reason. That's the end of the third quarter with a score. Penn State 42, Minnesota 3. We'll be back with more after this timeout on the Penn State Sports Network.
What do Texaco Clean System 3 gasoline and the Nittany Lions have in common? Both are strong performers on the road. Both have a winning tradition of consistent quality. Both give their fans what they want. The difference? Clean System 3 performs in your car. The Nittany Lions prefer stadiums. Oh yeah, and Texaco doesn't have cheerleaders. Texaco, star of the American road and Penn State proud.
Brought to you by Texaco and your local Texaco retailer.
Remember what the roads around here were like last winter? Then you ought to be headed to your Subaru dealer right now. Because cold, snowy, miserable driving conditions are where the beauty of a Subaru really shines through. Unlike ordinary front and rear wheel drive systems, Subaru all-wheel drive automatically transfers power from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip for outstanding traction in rain, slush, or snow. Subaru, the beauty of all-wheel drive.
Your Subaru dealer invites you to come in and experience the beauty of all-wheel drive.
You know, Fran, we talked about before how last year when Penn State, Minnesota didn't know each other, didn't know each other's tendencies. Minnesota threw the ball all over the place. You see what happens when 1 year, when you get to know what the other team does, and you're seeing evidence of it tonight, because technically the Penn State's defense is much more or less experienced than the one last year. That was a pretty veteran defense.
And their offense, they being Minnesota, is much more experienced.
They're much more experienced. So
two fifth-year senior quarterbacks.
Yeah, we talked about it before the game. You know, sometimes you get fooled. Here's this defense everybody suspects. Right. They hold them, and they've held Minnesota to 3 points so far.
Penn State now with a second down and 2 yards to go. The ball at the 24-yard line, and Wally Richardson trips as he comes out from under center and loses yardage back to about the 29-yard line.
Well, he tripped over Tilch. Now,
the center, Gary Tilch.
Yeah. See, these are the things your quarterbacks, you got to line up. You got to know he's got to clear his feet. You got to be careful that if the center steps back too quick and he doesn't step on your foot and you go down, you can fumble a ball. And so you got to take those first steps off the center. You got to be good strides.
Third down and 7 now for Penn State back at the 30-yard line after the loss of about 5. And Mike Archie comes in at tailback. Phil Collins is the wide receiver right, and Chris Campbell is the wide receiver left. Actually, Archie now goes in the slot where he becomes a receiver. He's one of the better pass receivers on the squad. Straight back to pass Richardson, throws to Archie, complete at the 26-yard line at the right sideline. Forced out of bounds by
just
Greg
a short
Sauer.
thing. He was in the slot. Wide receiver clears out, and Archie went to the sidelines. And there's a flag. I don't know what it's for, though. You're right here.
Back about where the pass was let loose. So whether it's a hold or a roughing, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, it could have been a late hit. That's possibly what it.
Looks like they're going to mark it off against the Minnesota Gophers. So he had roughing the passer. On Wally Richardson, and I didn't watch him after he let the ball loose.
Well, he let the ball go clean, and there was no need to hit him, and it really wasn't a flagrant, late hit, but they were calling it, and these officials are very conscious about
Oh yeah, it was a late hit.
A late hit, all right, but they're conscious about some of the incidents that occurred last year that have no place in college football.
Have to make the admission, of course, that the reason we get so wise all of a sudden is because of a television monitor right in front of us. Back, I give to Mike Archie up the middle, the 10, the 5. What a move! Touchdown, Penn State. Oh, my.
That's what you call a quick pop.
Oh, my.
That's a quick pop. We haven't used it too much, though, Fran. That's what,
to the tailback, at least.
I'm talking about the monitor there. We use that to check penalties. That's
well, we got a 3-inch screen here, so we have to look pretty closely. Mike Archie gave a shoulder one way, gave a shoulder the next way, and all of a sudden there were maroon shirts on the ground, and Mike Archie was handing the ball to the official in the end zone.
As Dick Vitale might say, that's a little shake, rattle, and roll.
Yep,
I mean, but you know, Penn State, they take one kid out, they put another kid in, especially a tailback, and there's not much of a drop-off.
Now, my friends, if it sounds like we're having a good time, you're absolutely right.
Well,
Penn State now attempting the 49th point of the ball game, and we don't mean to be flippant about it, but you get attached to a program and to kids and to coaches, and you feel good when all of their hard work is paid off. Now, you also feel badly for all the hard work that the Minnesota Golden Gophers have put into this preseason. But they'll recoup.
Well, I'm sure they will, because Wacker's too good of a coach. He's got one of the best records in the country for active coaches. But I think the pleasant surprise, why if we sound jubilant, is that we didn't expect Penn State to perform to this degree of efficiency. And, you know, it's a pleasant surprise.
Penn State penalized 5 yards for delay of game, so it's a little longer extra point. Doesn't seem to matter for Brett Conway. He splits it. And there's a break in the action with the score, Penn State 49, Minnesota 3. Now, this word from your local station. This is the Penn State Sports Network.
Summer rush is just about over, and so are the peak times for renting a car. Hi, everybody. It's Fred Hansberger, and this means you can rent a car or van right now from Thrifty Car Rental and get the best rates of the year. That's right. Whether you're a busy executive who needs a luxury car for travel or a group of sales associates on the road to your next meeting, let Thrifty equip you with a 15-passenger van or a car to suit your needs. Go ahead. Call Thrifty today. Make your reservation, 264-1775. 264-1775, Thrifty Car Rental.
Remember your first day of school? You thought you'd never get through it? But when you got home, Mom was waiting with delicious Nabisco cookies and crackers. Now, share those same special moments with your kids. Pick up your favorite Nabisco snacks during the grand opening at the new Imperial Shop and Save, just off routes 2230 at the Imperial exit. Get 20-ounce packages of Oreos, 2 for $5. Mr. Salty Pretzels are just 99 cents in the 9-ounce box and 10-ounce bag. Welcome your kids home with a hug and the great taste of Nabisco.
Well, we have almost a quarter to go, Fran, and it's 49-3, and obviously we didn't expect this. We didn't expect the defense to hold this potent offensive team of Minnesota, one of the tops in the country last year, and then in the Big Ten to 3 points. And we knew with Penn State, strong suit was offense, but we didn't think that they could function this efficiently in a first game. So this new rule about only being able to, take 64 on a road trip? Now you have to play the kids you got, so this thing might even, the score might even increase more than it is now.
We have a new kicker for Penn State. Mark Barninger is going to do the kicking, and he kicks a high kickoff that is taken by Heath at the 12-yard line. He's at the 15 to 20. He's got a slot, 25, 30, 35, and dragged down from behind by Marlon Forbes. Well, and they are finding running room on the corners after the kickoff.
If you're looking for something, it's never a perfect game to criticize the special teams on kickoff coverage. And what's happened, they're getting caught inside some of them, and then the contain man, his responsibility is to make sure nobody gets outside, so he gives a little ground to the outside, and they're getting up into that alleyway there.
All right, we have Javon Jackson in the backfield behind the redshirt freshman quarterback, Corey Souter. And Penn State, well, defensively, we find Dud Atkins, and we have the #1 team in there now, #1 unit. He's alternating them. Like George said, they only brought so many players. 3 wide receivers right. Souter fakes, spot pass. What a super block on Clint Holes as the man is loose on the right side, goes down the right sideline. And he's finally knocked out of bounds. It's Jackson. And we have illegal block by Osterman.
Well, let's see what happens. You know, that almost looked like
he made the block that took him loose. Yeah.
I'd be honest with you.
He went out of bounds. That's what happened.
He got blocked. He tackled him.
And he laid on him after he was there. Clint Holes is the guy that got flattened. That's enough for a first down at any rate. Let's put the ball at the 38-yard line.
Slow reaction by Tate on that, though. He's slow coming up.
The lone setback is Javon Jackson. In motion comes a wide receiver to the right. There's a little screen pass over the middle. It's complete to Garrison. Garrison gets to the 35-yard line. Or is it Jackson that makes the catch? It is Javon Jackson who made the catch and gets a short gain to the 35-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and 7. Yeah, Minnesota and Penn State territory.
Just a little screen over the middle on that. Good reaction by the defense.
We have a new slot back in there. Tutu Atwell was in on the last play, a freshman from Miami, Florida. And now they have 2 wide receivers right. They have a tight end as a wingback on the right that comes in motion. Javon Jackson gets the deep handoff, comes to the near side, squaring away and sticking a tackle on him was Marlon Forbes. And he's forced out of bounds at about the 32-yard line.
Did you see Stewart chasing him? See, now what happened on that one? When the man that Stewart's playing against pulls, he gets, we say, in the back pocket. He fouled him right down the line.
Backside pursuit.
Right. Backside, the corner contained it, and there he was. That's a big man chasing you.
3rd down and 3 for Minnesota. The Gophers at their 32-yard line, playing with 12:58 remaining in this ball game. Penn State with the comfortable 49-3 lead. No back set this time. Souter straight back to pass. There's a look in over the middle. That's that center middle screen, but he dropped the ball. It was intended.
That was Dalen.
For Eric Dalen, the tight end.
He's 6'7". That's the second one he dropped. But they advertised to use him like an H-back, which they have, using him in motion, to use his size as a blocker for the running. But it's too late for that now. So, you know, you got to go along with what you planned. And he's not the best receiver they got by far.
Would you believe Penn State after 3 quarters, 275 yards rushing, 278 yards passing?
That's balance.
No setbacks. Souter, same play over the middle. This time intended for Tutu Atwell, but he missed the ball.
Well, Tutu Atwell saw Willie Smith right there, and he almost got his head knocked off.
He's only 5'9", 165-pound freshman.
Well, you know, the quarterback is supposed to read that. If he sees somebody coming up like that, he's supposed to go to another receiver, because you only get your receiver killed, but the linebacker might intercept it.
Corey Souter, their heralded redshirt sophomore quarterback, or redshirt freshman quarterback, get a lot of action. I don't know whether they're going to punt the ball or not.
Well, Penn State, that was 4th down.
Oh, that was 4th down.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. Thank you. Stephen Pitts in the backfield behind Wally Richardson. Jason Slode is the fullback. The give to Pitts. Stephen Pitts breaks out across the 35 to the 38-yard line.
Just the same play, Fran. That was Marzik again pulling. That time he didn't stay with the block long enough. But this time Stephen Pitts, the number 3 tailback, makes a nice cut. He's capable of making a big run, too.
Still picks up 6 yards. It'll be second and 4 to 38. Williams is the man who made the defensive play that time for Minnesota. Long time in the huddle.
This is a tough game for your first game back, and with all the substitution going on.
There's a movement, and I think it was Penn State who moved. And I think it was Dale Henry or Pete Marzik, one of the two.
I think it was Marzik at, well, not 100% sure.
The illegal procedure.
But this is great that this supposedly second line, or the A line, the blue line, the B line, whatever you want to call it, that's getting this much playing time, because, you know, during the season, sooner or later you're going to lose a kid for a couple of games. You know.
Ki-Jana Carter finished the game with 22 rushing attempts and 210 yards and 3 touchdowns. Darkins 92 yards and 19 attempts for the Golden Gophers. Penn State has 2 tight ends in there. Bobby Stevenson is on 1 tight end. There's a pitch to Pitts, and Pitts gallops to the 35-yard line. Only gets a couple. Penn State will be confronted with 2nd and 7 at the 30. 3rd and 7 at the 35.
That was Walco, the middle linebacker. I'll say one thing. I want to give credit to this Minnesota defense.
They're playing.
Haven't quit.
They're playing.
They're hanging in there. They're playing as hard as they can at this juncture in the game. It's just that Penn State's execution has been so good up to here that they couldn't stop them.
Penn State out over the ball now. Wally Richardson is the quarterback. He's played a good share of this second half. And he's straight back to pass on the drop. He's throwing deep for Chris Campbell. He's got him at the 50. Campbell looks back. Keep running, Chris. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. Down to the 4. Nice throw.
That's what they want from Wally Richardson. He's got a great release. Do you see that quick release? Hit him right in stride. And you pointed something out that the receiver coach is going to get on Campbell. Once you get that football, you haven't got time to look back, because that guy, that defensive back, if he has any speed, will catch you. And that's exactly what kept him from getting a touchdown. He gave him a nice stiff arm at the end and got down to about the 3-yard line.
Terrence Blaine was the guy who caught him, and I really think he'd have beat him if he put his head into the wind and just kept going.
Let it go and pin his ears back. But again, you know, I hope people don't say, well, why is Penn State trying to run up? You have to give Wally
got to get 2 quarterbacks ready.
And that's exactly what the strategy is. And that's the best pass he's thrown.
Now we have a new back in there that sets up on the wing. That's Ambrose Fletcher. They pitch to Pitts. Pitts tries to get to the corner, can't get there. Didn't get much help from that blocking on that side.
Well,
as Joe Justice came up to stop it.
Well, I think Ambrose Fletcher just ran right by the man he was supposed to block, and he's just a youngster and also very talented, I hear, you know, as a running back.
Redshirt freshman from New London, Connecticut, was a walk-on, and he's impressed the coaches with his spring practice and his preseason practice. Jason Sloat is out, and Brian Milne is in for Penn State. So it's, let's give his second down and goal to go at the 5-yard line. There's a 2-yard loss in that play. Full house backfield? No. Fletcher shifts to the left wing position. The give to Milne. Milne lowers his head, takes tacklers with him, is right up against the goal line. No signal yet, so he did not get in. But I'll tell you, he followed big Wayne Holmes in there. Dale Cockrell finally made the stop. Well, and he's right up against the goal line.
He's a load. Holmes is a load.
I'll say.
And Milne's a load. One of the bigger fullbacks in the country. You know what's unusual for Milne? He's a good athlete. That's why he was involved in the Olympics and all that in the discus. But he's got a quick takeoff. He's got a quick start for a big guy.
Got Justin O'Connor and Bobby Stevenson in at tight end. Jason Sloat is now in at the fullback position with Pitts, and again Fletcher on the wing. Sloat gets the call. Touchdown, Jason Sloat. A redshirt freshman fullback followed the block, and Wolko finally pushed him, but it was too late for that.
What he did, the nice thing about it, he didn't hit the hole he was supposed to, and he just took it to the outside. He's got pretty good speed, and then he ran over the cornerback, tried to come up and make a tackle. You know, Minnesota's defense is absolutely exhausted at this point.
Jason Sloat from Marysville, Pennsylvania, played at Susquehanna High School. So we're going to have another conversion attempt by Brett Conway. This, we have a new holder in there. It's Jason Collins. The snap, the set, the kick. It's good. With the score, Penn State 56, Minnesota 3. Now this word from the Penn State Sports Network.
You know, Cadillac has had an outstanding series of successful product introductions and international award recognition in the last couple of years. More so than any other car line. So it makes sense to me that right now, during your Cadillac Super Network dealer's 1994 model year closeout, is the perfect time to buy or lease a new Cadillac. While these dealers are offering closeout prices, special leasing terms, and special trade-in allowances. So see your Cadillac dealer now. Tell them Dick Vermeil sent you.
You want to get the performance you deserve from your car? Use Texaco Clean System-free gasolines, an advanced system of engine cleaning that works over time for higher performance, lower emissions, and improved mileage. Next time, fill up with Clean System-free, one of the quality products from Texaco, star of the American Road, and Penn State proud.
Brought to you by Texaco and your local Texaco retailer.
I want to give credit where credit's due. Mike McQuarrie, the State College quarterback, was the holder on that extra point conversion. And the young man, the redhead from State College, is a very promising athlete. We mentioned earlier that Kerry Collins' 13 consecutive completions set a Penn State record. It was an old one held by Bill Smaltz when he completed 12 in a row back in 1940.
I didn't know that.
Didn't you know that? Nope. Did you know Bill Smaltz?
Nope.
Gee, everybody knows Bill Smaltz. He was a heck of a punter.
Yeah.
And he also went down to North Carolina State, was assistant for Earl Edwards. And we have Barninger doing the kicking again. And we have Rashawn Early. And is that Heath? Rodney Heath back in the double safety position.
Well, we were talking about the restraining rule, you know, with the kickoff, which means you don't have to have your people
Hasn't
up there.
affected anybody
Hasn't
yet.
affected. Nobody's done any, you know, sometimes you get some wacky plays off it.
Barninger, big strong kick. Going to be taken by Heath at the 6-yard line. Here he comes to that left side again. The 20, the 25, and Brian King slows him down, and Marlon Forbes and Tate finish him off at the 25-yard line. A little better coverage that time.
A little better, but it was King who did the job. He fought off the blocker with his hands. There's still too many people caught in the inside. It's got to be like a fence, and you have to have everybody, you know, their spacing correlated and picket in place without opening any big holes.
We have 9:18 remaining in this ball game. Penn State up 56-3, and we have a bunch of new guys in there on defense. The number 2 unit. We have Corey Carlson in at a cornerback. We have Collins in at a cornerback. We have Filardi in at the middle linebacker. There's a flag on the play as the give is to the tailback Javon Jackson. And Mark Tate comes up from the cornerback position to make the stop after he'd rambled for about 12 yards. Let's see if it was offsides Penn State. It was, so the penalty will be declined. And it'll be a first down for Minnesota at its 32-yard line. We also have
is Ferrando been in? I don't think he's played.
Who?
Was it Fornado or
Fornadel?
Fornado. Has he been in? Number 99.
I'm trying to check him out to see if he's at that end. I think it's Snyder and Scioli.
Well, you know, we were concerned about the pronunciation of the game, and I was waiting for him to get in. I haven't seen him.
Snyder is at one end. There's a pitch again to the tailback, and he spins to the outside. And this is White on the pass completion out across the 45 to midfield. First down, Minnesota.
They hit that play before. That's the cornerback. Penn State's not concerned. They just don't want him to get deep, so you let him catch in front of him. And the cornerback has to come up a little quicker on it. That's just a quick hitch, and they use the inside receiver to block.
Jason Collins is in the secondary. Chris Snyder and Matt Fornadel are the defensive ends.
He is in there. Good.
No, Snyder is in for Fornadel. I take it, because Scioli is in there also at a defensive end. There's a double motion by the little guy. 2-2. Back to pass goes Souter. Throws a semi-screen to the tailback, and he's knocked down at the 45-yard line. Corey Carlson makes the stop on Jackson.
Well, you know, I was Coach Wacker, which I'm not, and with this game as lopsided as it is, I would get some of my better players out. That's number one. And number two, I wouldn't show anything. They're starting to show a lot of screens and stuff that are pretty good plays because, you know, you got your whole schedule in front of you. You know, this game is out of hand. I mean, there's no way they can possibly come back and win.
Second down and 5. Minnesota at the Penn State 45-yard line. And the lone setback is Javon Jackson. Souter taking the call, slides and gives to Javon Jackson. Good penetration by the one end, but Scioli, but he did not make the stop, and he breaks across the 40, inside the 40, before Mark Tate can bring him down for a first down at the Penn State 37-yard line.
Well, see, Scioli is mad at himself because he should have made the tackle, but that's what this playing in a game like this is a learning experience. Once you get penetration, you got to flatten out, because if you over-penetrate, and the back has more speed than you are, he's going to beat you to the sideline. And so if you flatten out, you got a chance to head him off at the vortex there, the point where the sidelines and the back and
quarterback Souter sends his tailback in motion and drops straight back to pass. There's that middle screen again, but this time Penn State's played it very nicely as Aaron Collins was the first man to make contact.
It's just the same play they hit on the other side.
And he had help from Brandon Noble, too. So it's a gain of 2. Well, no gain on the play. Let's make it second down and 10. Ball at the 38-yard line in Penn State territory. 7 minutes left in the ball game. Penn State 56, Minnesota 3. Here goes Tutu Atwell in motion. I like to say his name. In fact, he went in motion twice.
And he came out of the game.
You can't do that. He went all the way over to the bench. That's why he should have motioned clear out of the ball game, because they had too many men on the field.
Two different speeds. And but, you know, surprisingly so, coming out in the second half, even though they didn't have the ball that much, Minnesota has not tried to throw the ball deep.
Let's pause for station identification. This is the Penn State Sports Network, a division of Paxson Sports.
KDKA Pittsburgh.
Men on the field or delay a game, whatever you prefer to call it, penalizes the Gophers back to the 43-yard line to make it 2nd down and 15 yards to go. Minnesota and Penn State territory. No setbacks this time. 3 wide receivers right, 2 wide receivers left. One of them's a tight end who's flexed to the left. Straight back to pass goes Sauter. Big rush by Penn State, and down he goes as Chris Snyder sacks him back at the 40, about the 46-yard line, 47-yard line in Penn State territory. A large loss on the play.
Boy,
good rush by Snyder.
And you had Scioli coming from the other side who had his man beat. But again, you know, they're not quitting Minnesota, but the score has to have an effect on their execution. And
Snyder is a redshirt freshman, 6'3", 238 from Chesapeake, Virginia.
Yeah.
Big boy. They have 2 tight ends in this time. And a slot to the right. He goes in motion. That's Mike Long. Now Sauter on the give to the tailback, Javon Jackson. Jackson with great speed is into the secondary, but he's caught from behind on a good rush by Marlon Forbes. On a good catch by Marlon Forbes. But this youngster is going to play some football for this team.
Yeah, he's good looking back. He's got
freshman from Newport News.
Great quickness. And that time Carlson, see, all these kids that haven't played that much, it's a learning experience. Carlson, the inside linebacker on that, Jackson just ran right by him. He didn't see him coming at all.
He gets all the way to the Penn State 34-yard line, but it's still 4th down and about 6 yards to go. So they have to make to the Penn State 28 before they can get their 1st down. And of course, they're going to make an effort. 5 wide receivers. Big rush by Penn State. Scioli's got him. He has to throw it away. Good rush by Scioli. And also a good inside rush by Dave Thomas.
Yeah, they had 3 guys, the 2 guys outside people, and the man coming up the middle. They all did their job. Scioli's a good-looking prospect from right here. He's a real man, huh?
True freshman. Yeah.
Seldom do you see guys line up on as a down people with number 5 on their back,
right.
huh?
Mike McQuarrie becomes the quarterback, the 3rd quarterback of the evening to play for Penn State, and Ambrose Fletcher is the tailback. The fullback is Jason Slode. The wide receivers, Joe Juravicius and Eric Gallman. The tight end is Justin O'Connor. There's a give to Ambrose Fletcher. He breaks to the 35 and out to the 39-yard line before he's dropped by Jamel Carr, I think it is, and we have an injury on the play, as Slode was the man who put the lead block on the Minnesota Gophers. Say, the newest varsity sport at Penn State is the Penn State women's soccer team. The Lady Lions will play their first home game Friday night, September 9th, against Cornell. Game time 7 o'clock at Jeffrey Field. Why don't you be a part of history in the making? The first Lady Lion home soccer game Friday night, September 9.
You know, that's where they have Anderson in there at 1 guard, and they had, let's see, they have a couple of kids that haven't played too much, Harvey, and so on and so forth. But I don't know how many offensive linemen Joe brought, but he's just about played everybody.
Yeah, he's played everybody. I'm checking to see if young, no, Tilsha's still the center. And Justin O'Connor, another true freshman, is the tight end. There's a pitch to Ambrose Fletcher. He cuts upfield at the 40, the 45, and has the 1st down in Minnesota territory at the 48-yard line. He gets in the hole in a hurry.
Yeah, he's quick.
Joe Justice is the man that knocked him down, but Penn State has a 1st down at the 47-yard line in Minnesota territory. Penn State leading 56-3.
Now, let me just point out a difference. I doubt if they let McQuarrie throw the ball, even though you like to get experience. With the score as it is with the time on the clock. Richardson was different because Richardson, if Collins goes down, you have to get him.
McQuarrie looking over that defense, bobs the head. On deep handoff to Fletcher. Fletcher lowers his head and gets to midfield, or they're very close before Chris Smith knocks him over. Wasn't quite the running room he needed, but he does get to the line of scrimmage in a hurry. Let's give him 2 yards to the 49-yard line. Penn State in its own territory, but 2nd and 8.
Yeah. And they got Odom in now, number 70 at guard. I think that's about as,
Boris
that's
Odom.
it. Yeah,
the junior from Decatur, Georgia.
Yeah, another big kid. I think the only kid hasn't played is the other Conlon at center.
6'4", 295 for Oden. Again, this time it's Stephen Pitts. He's to the outside. He's in Minnesota territory and forced out of bounds at the 41. We have a flag in the secondary. Joe Justice forced Pitts out of bounds. But let's see what the penalty is. Against Penn State, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But Oden pulled on that. Now, that big guy like that, he's pretty quick. He's got quick feet.
May have gotten a downfield illegal block. Clipping against Penn State. It occurred at about the 41-yard line in Minnesota territory.
You know, as happy as we are for Penn State, you feel a little sad for Coach Wacker because, you know, to start off the season and lose to a good football team isn't too bad. But they kind of got embarrassed tonight. And then he's going to have to get everybody together and, you know, gather them together and talk this thing over and try to get back on track for next week. I don't know who they play next week, Minnesota.
They have Pacific. Pacific. They have Pacific right here. Their first 3 games are at home. All right, Penn State has Eric Gauman in motion now. And there's a give to the fullback, Jason Sloat, and he manhandles some people up across the 50-yard line. And Rashawn Early finally knocks him down at the Minnesota 45-yard line. He gets a big chunk of that penalty yardage back.
He reminds you of Whitman.
Yes, he does.
How he can tell the difference. And Joe likes him. He says, I'm very comfortable with Sloat.
Played at a small high school. That doesn't mean anything. But a lot of people, I don't think, recruited Jason Sloat.
Yeah, well, sometimes you play at a small school, like you say, well, look, he got a lot of yards, but, you know, it was a small school, and you don't get the attention that some of the other players got. 3rd and 3 at the 45-yard line in Minnesota territory. A pitch to Stephen Pitts. Pitts lowers his head, sticks it in there, and he's going to be close to the first down, but it'll depend on the spot. I think he's shy. He finally got stopped by Kevin Holmes, big number 93, who's a bit slow getting up. And it's sad to see so many times that the team who's been manhandled starts getting hurt in the latter stages of the game. Well, that's fatigue. Fatigue is the most dangerous thing to a player because, you know, that's when you get hurt.
Quick reminder that the defending Big Ten champion Nittany Lions soccer team will open this season Tuesday night, September 6th. The Nittany Lions will host Cleveland State at 7:15 at Jeffrey Field.
You know, at the end of the game, we have to check out the stat on the time of possession. And, yeah, that will be a strong indicator of why, you know, the score is like it is now. But he's got a couple of good players still in that football game.
We have, I think, 2 tight ends in the ball game now, and this 4th down and 2 yards to go. So apparently Penn State's not going to punt. We do have Bobby Stevenson and Justin O'Connor in a double tight end set. We have 1 wide receiver, Gallman to the left, Sloat, and Stephen Pitts in the backfield. A give to Sloat. Oh my, does he lower the boom and gets the yardage inside the 40 to the 37-yard line. 8-yard gain. A powerful run. Finally, Danny Williams brings him down, but Penn State is 1st and 10 and leading 56-3 with 2:27 left in the ball game. They're at the 38-yard line in Minnesota territory. Joe Juravicius back in, 1 tight end now, that being Justin O'Connor to the left. Sloat and Pitts in the backfield, or is that Fletcher? It's Ambrose Fletcher. He gets the deep handoff, breaks to the right, tries to get to the outside. A good ankle tackle.
Excellent tackle
by Chris Smith. And Ambrose tried to get to the outside and may have underestimated the speed of the linebacker who caught him at the ankle.
Well, he filled it nicely, and but again, as you say, he's quick, and I thought Penn State was just going to give the fullback 3 or 4 more times and run out the rest of the clock and, you know, get this thing over with.
Phil Collins and Eric Gallman is in. Kevin Conlon is now in at center for Penn State. There's a pitch to Ambrose Fletcher. This time he tries to cut up inside, stays on his feet. Good balance and gets to the 32-yard line. Good run by Ambrose Fletcher.
And that was slowed out in front trying to make a block for him.
He gets to the 31, as a matter of fact, before Jermel Carr, who's been playing some in this second half, makes the stop. Will spot the ball at the 31 and make a 3rd and 3 for Penn State. Juravicius back in. He is split to the left, and in that slot is Eric Gallman. And now the backs are split, and Gallman comes in motion toward the ball. There's a give to the fullback, Slode. Slode muscles his way inside the 30 to about the 29-yard line before Baylor, Raymond Baylor, a sophomore down lineman from Houston, Texas, makes the stop for Minnesota. The ball spotted at the 28-yard line. It'll be shy of a first down by something less than a yard. Clock running, 37, 36, 35. Scoreboard on the other side says 56 Penn State, 3 Minnesota.
Wow.
So there's no hurry here. Doesn't do any good.
I was going to say McQuarrie's hustling up to the line of scrimmage.
Well, he's got to run the team.
I'm just jesting. This is the last play.
Give to Slode. This time they're keying the fullback, and he gets no yardage to the 30-yard line. Hawthorne makes the stop, and Penn State was not able to move the sticks, and Minnesota takes over on downs in a very disheartening situation in 2 respects. There's only 14 seconds left, and they're trailing 56-3. What a game.
Well, it's a surprising game, and
absolutely
before the Penn State people go bananas and think they're going to win a national championship, we got a long way to go, because next week they got Southern Cal, and excellent coach, big strong team, plays a lot like Penn State. They like to run the ball, good balance, possibly the best quarterback in the country. By some pundits think so. So
Chino Prater comes in at a cornerback for Penn State, and Brian King is the safety. Fornadel is in at a defensive. Fornadel at a defensive left end. Back to pass goes Corey Souter. He overthrows his mark because he had pressure. He had pressure from Chris Snyder. Chris Snyder. Good penetration from these defensive ends tonight. Perry, Atkins, Scioli, and Snyder.
Yeah, that's the surprising thing about the defense. Overall, they played great, obviously.
Incomplete pass, 2nd and 10 at the 30-yard line for Minnesota with 8 seconds left in the ball game.
To get back to that defensive line, you lose Ben Faddy and Tyoka Jackson, so they really were concerned, and with Claire out,
Claire.
Yeah, and they were the 3 top people last year.
Well, they played the pass much better than anybody dared anticipate.
Absolutely.
There's a throw over the middle, almost intercepted. Should have been, as a matter of fact. I don't think that it was intended for Jackson, but I don't think Kim Herring saw the ball to the last. Or is that Herring? No, that's not Herring. We'll get him in a minute. Tate. Incomplete pass with 3 seconds on the clock. And a good warm shower is going to feel awfully good to these Minnesota players. They've had a rough night. And it's not a test of the Penn State team. We must quickly point that out.
Much too early.
Minnesota's offense was not what they had hoped, and their defense did not improve, at least on the stats for the game.
Well, remember I said that the first game is one of the toughest to prepare for. Penn State is much better prepared than Minnesota.
There's a pass. It's caught at the sideline as the clock runs free. Woodson makes the final catch of the ball game, and the 2 squads shaking hands. The coaches looking for each other. Jim Wacker and Joe Paterno out having a word. I don't know what you say. It's a difficult circumstance. Well, but I know Joe has a great deal of respect and admiration for Jim Wacker and vice versa.
When Joe won the Coach of the Year one year, Wacker went, I think, for the 1AA.
That's correct.
He's a very, great Christian guy and whatever, and they're very good friends. But you're professionals. You understand. You got outclassed tonight.
The final score: Penn State 56, Minnesota 3. More after this word from your local station. This is the Penn State Sports Network.
This is the hardest working mother in America for the JCPenney Labor Day sale, with savings throughout the store, like girls and boys flannel tops, just $12.99. Like they'll hang up new clothes, and Stafford dress shirts, only $11.99. So he looks nice when he forgets to take out the trash again. Plus savings on Missy jeans and the Arizona Jean Company and Rio jeans for juniors who will want every pair. But the JCPenney Labor Day sale ends Monday. Personally, I'd leave the word labor out of it. JCPenney, doing it right.
You may have kids, but you don't have 10,000 of them to clean up after. Hi, I'm David Orrick. We're here at the local junior high school. The vacuum cleaner is my 8-pound Orrick XL. It's not only the head of the class at junior high, but in thousands of hotels around the world. To test it in your own home, free for 15 days or free brochure, call 1-800-989-4200. That's 1-800-989-4200.